Live from Morris Jeff Stadium in Algiers, Crescent City Sports is proud to bring you Louisiana High School playoff football. Tonight, it's a Division I select quarterfinal matchup as the Evangel Christian Academy Eagles fly south to take on the defending champion and number 1 seed, the Edna Karr Cougars, who you see take the field. Hi again, everybody. Lenny Van Gilder alongside Wade Kaiser and our Crescent City Sports production team. Wade, this has the makings of a lot of fun this evening. We got this talent all over the field on both sides, okay? But there's two things I'm watching for. One, it's the Carr defense, which has been so good all year long, allowing barely 10 points a game. But we've got maybe the two best dual-threat quarterbacks in Louisiana, if not two of the best in America, that we get to watch tonight in John Johnson and Pop Houston.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said 10 points a game that they're allowing, and their opponent tonight comes in scoring 50.4 points a game, right? So this is going to be extremely electrifying on both offensive ends. But tonight, to see who's going to step up and play great defense is going to be what's going to win the football game here tonight.
Yeah, no question about it. This Carr team is 11-0. They have not lost in 2 seasons. As there you see the Evangel Eagles taking the field on the far side. So you've got, you've got these guys they're 9-2, okay?
Right.
And their 2 losses are by 3 points to a Neville team who's a number 2 seed in Division I non-select, and to Lafayette Christian Academy. That was a 2-point loss. The Neville game was a 1-point loss. So that's their losses this year. We're going to pause right now for our Star Spangled Banner from Algiers. Our national anthem from Algiers as we count you down to kickoff between Edna Karr and Evangel. Let's take a look at the top of the bracket in Division I Select and how we got here and exactly what we're looking at as we go forward. So as we get ready for the coin toss in Division I Select, there you see Karr, winner a week ago over Jesuit. Evangel had a good one a week ago with St. Paul's before prevailing. You see Alexandria over Brother Martin. Catholic beat Captain Shreve. Those two are facing off tonight at Memorial in Baton Rouge. These two winners, as you see, would play next Friday night in the semifinals. And then you see there at the bottom of your screen the state championship game, December 13th, 3:30 in the Superdome. In fact, of the 8 games last week in this bracket, only one visiting team won, and that was Archbishop Rummel, the 11 beating the 6 Tioga. So that gives you an idea. And in fact, that was a lot of the case around the state a week ago. The high seeds were 53-11. That's a 83% rate. And 6 of the 11 upsets happened in Division I and II non-select.
Well, that speaks well to the way the seeding system has been put together this year, and it's always good to see that because there's a lot of questions surrounding everything since the separation 12 years ago. But the seeding system is good, and it's prevailed so far here through the quarterfinals.
So we talk about that, and then of course, we see what happens on the other side as well, and we'll get more into that later in the broadcast. But there is just, I mentioned, so much talent.
Right.
Houston, an LSU commit, is the number 8 player in Louisiana in the class of 2027. His numbers: 3,587 yards, 41 touchdowns through the air. He's rushed for another 888 yards and 11 touchdowns. Meanwhile, John Johnson has thrown for 2,114 yards and 26 touchdowns. He has rushed for 982 yards and another 19 scores. So that's 45 that Johnson's accounted for, 52 that Houston's accounted for. That's almost 100 touchdowns between your two quarterbacks in the course of 22 games this season.
Right. They're electric, and the thing, both of them can get it done in two ways, right? With the arm, they can throw the football. They've got a great crew of receivers. Both teams have some outstanding guys that can go get the ball. And then, of course, Johnson and Pop Houston can run the football when they have to. So they love the RPO game. They love to be able to take off when things are covered. They love to know where the sticks are and be able to go get them, right? So, that really puts stress on a defense.
So, as we see the toss at the center of the field here, we'll take you through exactly what happens there. Evangel, of course, the visiting team, the 8th seed, is going to get the chance to call this toss. Our officiating crew this evening is from Thibodaux, from I believe it's the South Louisiana Association. All right.
Looks like Evangel might have won the toss and deferred.
Let's see. Evangel wants the football.
They take the football.
They want the football off the top, and that's not totally surprising there when you have that kind of offense. So
there you go.
So as we get set for football here, we've talked a lot about the skill, but look, we mentioned the Carr defense. Right. Big number 7, Richard Anderson. We've had a chance to see him a couple of times this year, the LSU commit. And when we first started doing, these games, we go back to week 2, and we did that great game in the Dome between Carr and American Heritage. Then, at that point, Richard Anderson was like right on the fringe of the top 100 nationally. Well, obviously what he's done this year has really vaulted him up. He is now the number 2 ranked player in Louisiana, but he's the number 12 ranked player nationally, according to 24/7. He's still number 90 in ESPN, which they haven't moved a lot since the start of the year. But he is a guy who is a difference maker, and that matchup is one I'll be watching for tonight. Is how Anderson really takes care of that offensive, what he can do against that Carr offensive line. They have got to find a way to slow him down.
Well, yeah, no doubt about it. And if you look at a roster and you look at the weights of the offensive linemen for Evangel that he's going to be lining up against, they're giving up some weight against this Carr defensive line tonight. Not just Anderson, but Juelz Baptiste and Romeo Brown and Nigel Marshall. These guys, Bryce Davis, these guys have played well all year too. But there's some big dudes that can move, and, they're light on their feet, they're athletic, and they can make things happen. So it's Evangel will do offensively to slow that rush down. All right, and to be able to try to control that front four from Carr in order to be able to run the ball some, because they're going to have to be able to run the ball a little bit with their 2 running backs, Damari Drake and Keontae Mims.
And we welcome our viewers on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network to Algiers for a Division I Select quarterfinal matchup between Evangel Christian and Edna Karr. I'm Lenny Van Gilder along with Wade Kaiser and our Crescent City Sports production team getting ready for kickoff in what should be a good one tonight in Division I Select. It's the 8th seed Evangel Christian, 9-2. The 1 seed Edna Karr, the defending state champions. They are a perfect 11-0 this year. In addition to being a number 1 seed, they are the 8th ranked team in the nation according to Max Preps. Evangel's going to get the ball first, so Wade, we're going to get a chance right away to see with this touted Evangel offense that averages 50.5 points a game, 547 total yards a game, is going to be able to do against a Karr defense that averages allowing less than 11 points a game and has shut out 3 opponents this year.
That's pretty amazing, isn't it? I mean, against, especially in the district that they play in, 9-5A, the Catholic League, and everybody in that league pretty much can score some points, and you know, Carr's only given up less than 11, 10.8 to be exact.
We are aware of the scoreboard situation. It is 0-0.
So having some issues. The clock is fine. It's an issue with the score being kept on the scoreboard. So we are underway. Kickoff kind of scoots down to the 8-yard line and looking to bring it back to the far side. Johnny Casey, and not much doing. I'm not sure he got out past the 10-yard line. No, they're going to mark him down right there at the 8.
Having seen Carr so many times this year, you as well, we know one thing. You can't go east and west on this type of speed, right? And you can see Johnny Casey right here picks it up. Which way does he go? East and west. Look at the guys in purple converge on their kick coverage teams, right? You got to go vertically. You got to find seams north and south. That's the way you got to attack this Carr defense and kicking game.
All right, so you see Evangel in white. We get our first look at number 1 behind center, Pop Houston, but hold everything before this can get underway. Oh, we just shifted the whole formation. We got movement up front. Let's see.
It drew Carr off sides. They had a shift.
They just took the whole offensive line, other than the center, and shifted them out to the right.
And it drew Nigel Marshall off sides, big number 90 for the Carr Cougars.
So now it's 1st and 5 at the 13. Our officiating crew this evening from Thibodaux, and they'll do it again here. They'll take everybody but the center.
Swinging gate, pole cat, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Houston throws, passes incomplete. It was tipped.
Looks like Richard Anderson got a paw on that thing, got it up. Well, that's exciting. That's different. That's a different formation.
Look at the formation. What are you trying to accomplish there other than to, throw a new wrinkle and maybe they haven't seen it? I think indeed it was Anderson that got his hand on that one.
Yeah, you're trying to draw somebody off sides, get somebody out of position, and see if you can't get a big play. And here they go again doing it to the opposite side.
Yeah, now we're going to shift
Interesting.
the 4 of the offensive linemen to the left. Houston will throw to the opposite side. Pass is incomplete. And it's going to be 3rd and 5.
Intended receiver out there was for Jaden Hicks, trying to hit an out route, sprinting to the wide side of the field. You can see the zip on the arm of Pop Houston. He's got a little spin on that thing, right? Just off the fingers of Hicks out there on the out route. Oh, here we go again.
5. And let's do it again. Why not? If it didn't work twice, let's try it a 3rd time, right? Houston scrambles, now throws, pass is caught, near side, room to run, 30, 40, out near the 45-yard line. That is DeMarcus Evans, the senior, little guy, 5'6", 150 pounds, but he can scoot. He's averaging 21.8 yards a catch this year. It was his 42nd catch. He's gone for 13 touchdowns.
Lenny, Karr has adjusted well to this swinging gate stuff. They're getting where they need to be, so on and so forth, but everything gets so spread out that it puts pressure on your secondary, and it's how you get a guy like DeMarcus Evans loose for a nice gain for the Eagles.
They'll do it once again here. Now they'll throw a little short screen, and it is well defended. The Karr defensive line just penetrated and makes the play. That was Day-Day Drake on the catch. You will hear his name a lot tonight, Wade, because he plays on both sides of the football. He's a running back and a linebacker, a Grambling commit. They see him as a linebacker.
Well, I love it. It's old school football, right, where you can have over 100 tackles in a season and you can rush for over 1,000 yards in the season also. That's old-time football.
Houston, pass, juggled, caught, first down. Charlie Abraham, who's the leading receiver on this team, that was his 79th catch of the year. Give him 11 and a first down.
Well, interesting how they're getting receivers open in that Carr zone, right? So just looking for seams, and they've got a long way to go to put some pressure on Pop Houston back here, who can evade the rush. We've seen that. He's just standing back there and picking things apart. Here goes our swinging gate again.
First down and 10 from the Carr 44.
Houston now looking to scramble, gets away from a couple of defenders. Ball comes out. Carr is on the football, and I think it's Richard Anderson may have it. Yeah. Richard Anderson, who's got a touchdown to his credit this year, a big guy TD against John Curtis, came up with the football here. Watch as they get it out of Houston's hands, Wade.
Well, the pressure is applied by number 29, Jermichael Quinn, as well as number 14, Michael Quinn, and then the ball slapped out of his hands. But you just see how Pop Houston was holding the football. He's just holding it down and trying to run with it down by his thigh. Ball slapped out. Who comes up with it? Richard Anderson. Carr takes over in great shape in Evangel territory.
Yeah, they're at the 43-yard line. And our first look at the Cougar offense with John Johnson at quarterback. Gives it away on first down to Trey Garrison. 3 yards on the play. Garrison and Johnson, when the last time we were here in Week 8 against Warren Easton, Johnson was committed to Liberty, Garrison was committed to Nichols. Since then, both have flipped their commitments to Washington State University in Pullman, Washington. So second down 7. Pass, Johnson tried to throw the slant that time to Gregory Wilfred, who just committed earlier this week to UTSA, but it was too high, incomplete.
Yeah, a lot of mustard on that hot dog right there. Look at the slant route off the RPO. Wham! Look at this thing coming in there at about 95 miles per hour, and it just sails a little bit high.
So it's third down, 7. Line to make is the 33-yard line. Carr is certainly in 4-down territory right here with the position on the field at the 40-yard line. Johnson, now the draw play, and it is blown up by Evangel. They tried to go with that delayed draw that time, and to Evangel's credit, they got some penetration up front, and the main guy there was number 30, Ashton Dawson, the Arkansas commitment, 6'2", 287 pounds from his left-end spot that really initiated the penetration that time. And now on 4th and 11, Carr is going to punt it away.
Yeah, Dawson's had a great year. 97 tackles, 5 sacks. He's got some power. He's one of the biggest guys on their defensive line. Extremely athletic. He just took the offensive lineman from Carr and shoved him right back in the backfield and made a great tackle.
So here's the punt. It will roll, take a great Carr bounce, and it's going to be down, but I don't think they kept it out of the end zone. Let's see. Waiting for a signal. Yes, it's going to be well, they did stop it inside the 1-yard line. I thought maybe somebody went into the end zone with it. But that is going to set Evangel way back. Another look here at the coverage. I know you want him to go field it right here, but that was way short, and It just took a very friendly roll. Nice job there.
Well, the thing he needed to do was have his heels up there on the 10-yard line and try to come up and fair catch that thing in the air by coming forward with a hand up. So that way he would have had room to catch the football rather than letting it hit on the ground around the 15, and then that thing's going to roll right down to the 1. So here we go. They've got their tails in their own end zone, and then they're going to do their little deal here.
Right.
This is dangerous. This scares me.
Yeah, no doubt. From the half-yard line. Houston pass is incomplete, as
See, the problem is he can't get far enough back in his shotguns because he'll step out of the back of the end zone. So he's a little bit closer to that rush with only one blocker in front of him, right? Look at the guys in purple get to him before he can get the ball out of there. That's why this scares me, right? He needs some room in order to get his 10 yards almost deeper for the shotgun snap.
So 2nd down and 10. Evangel operating from about a foot off of their own goal line. We're on a toss sweep, and this is going nowhere, and that's a safety. Richard Anderson among those in the backfield, along with Jules Baptiste. No, or check that, that's 29, Jermichael Quinn, not 20. Quinn got the penetration in there as they tried to run a toss sweep to get out there and also get number 9 in there, Torrance Sanders.
Did you see how fast Richard Anderson got off the block and got out there to get involved in that safety? For a big guy, 6'3", 340, you want to know why, and you wonder why everybody in this country wants him as the number 1 defensive tackle recruit in this nation, right?
That is the other thing I failed to mention when I talked about those rankings. He has moved up to be the number 1 ranked defensive tackle in America. Some of those, I don't profess to be a recruiting expert. I know how to read the rankings and such.
Right,
but one of the conversations I've heard coming out of Baton Rouge is this, and obviously I think I'm not going to get into a whole Lane Kiffin or who the coach at LSU is going to be. That's not for this broadcast this evening. But the one thing I did hear was this: whoever the coach at LSU would be, the first thing you've got to make sure you do in this recruiting class is make sure you hang on to Richard Anderson. We're coming up on that early signing day. So
and look, he has remained committed, should we say, which is, kudos to that young man, because this is the world of, as we know, portals, changes of commitments, NIL money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He committed, and he stayed through everything going on.
Well, the defensive tackle at Acadiana, who we did not get a chance to see last week, flipped earlier this week from LSU to Ohio State.
Yep.
He had visited Ohio State just 2 weekends ago. So
there you go. But look, I'm not having been involved in it in a long time, guys would come into the office and they'd say, "We love this guy, we want him." Absolutely. Well, here's what he's got. Well, here's the bottom line. I can look at Richard Anderson play, and I can see why he's the number 1 rated defensive tackle in the United States, because that little exhibition right there where he got from 1A gap all the way outside to make a tackle for a safety on a toss sweep shows you what type of feet and what type of agility, is just outright speed that this young man has.
So Karr with a 2-0 lead. They faked the onside kick. We've seen that the last couple of weeks, I think, haven't we?
I saw.
You can, and again, this is a free kick, after a safety, much like you would kick off. So
that is correct.
And they're teeing it up. So Robinson's kick, a line drive on one hop to about the 26-yard line, and Wilfred is a dangerous return man and may go the distance. 74 yards for Wilfred, his 4th return touchdown of the year. And just like that, 2 is turned into 8 with a chance to make it 9.
Well, all right. First thing you don't do is you don't kick it to that guy. Now, do you kick it to the other guy? I don't know, because they both can run and they can both go coast to coast, right? What I'm doing is I'm kicking it into the air, high sky, if I can possibly do it, or on the ground, away from especially Mr. Wilfred.
So Karr is about to take a 9-0 lead if they can make this extra point here. Wait, they don't have a first down yet.
Nope.
It was like Notre Dame-Syracuse last week. Notre Dame was up 21-0 and hadn't run an offensive play. They had 2 defensive touchdowns and a punt return. Point after is good by Castillon. So just like that, 9 points in 20 seconds, or less than 20 seconds, I should say. And that's, look, we talk about Carr's explosiveness. We're usually talking about what they do on the offensive side.
Right,
That's
right.
defense and special teams that just got you 9 right there.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you win in all different types of ways. Carr has always done that. You know, we know about their offensive prowess, you know, but we also know that they can score in other ways, and we've just seen 2 of them so far here tonight, right? And they've been doing this all year. So, I mean, this is nothing yet new from what they've been showing. I'm impressed with how they have adjusted quickly to Evangel's swinging gate offense. You know, they're not you know, out of balance. They're not out of sync. They're not out of number, right? So kudos to the coaching staff of Karr having their kids make quick adjustments on the boundary to get things right versus those shifts by Evangel. We'll see if Evangel stays with it.
All right, Castillon to kick it off here. Line drive taken in at the 10-yard line. And a little bit better job of a return this time by Casey, but still only out to the 22-yard line. So, Evangel's 3 drives now starting at the 8, the 1, and this one, they've got incredible field position at the 22, comparatively speaking. As you get another look at the return. Now they'll shift out. This time they're going to do a little. They're going to send 2 linemen to each side here.
True polecat. That's what they call this. Karr adjusts well, except for Anderson.
Well, he's just standing there kind of almost playing a spy, if you can have a spy like that, and Houston throws it away. It's 2nd down. See, here's the other thing in this. We've talked about Anderson. We really haven't talked about the Carr secondary. You've got Hayward Howard, who's a Texas commit, at corner. You've got Torrance Sanders, who's got a bunch of offers, is still uncommitted. You got Maurice Williams, the free safety, who's a Colorado commit. All right, so you got some Power 4 level talent in the secondary as well. It's not just the guys up front.
Well, Algiers is a destination for recruiting, right?
No doubt.
Those guys are coming here all the time, all year, and they stop off at Edna Karr, and it's a one-stop shop. You can find what you need for your program at all levels.
Houston pass is incomplete. Abraham was open for a second. He found that window, though there were 4 Carr defenders converging there.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of leading them into the safety. I didn't like the throw. You've got to hit that a lot quicker in between that seam because right there, Hayden Hall was coming over there to turn the lights out on him, right? So you cannot lead your post route into a safety. You've got to hit that seam a lot quicker than that.
So it's 3rd and 10 at the 22. And this time the 4 offensive linemen will shift to the bottom of your screen. But 3 wide receivers are lined up in the slot to the right. Houston's pass caught, 1st down. Out to about the 40-yard line, and that is, I believe, Broderick Lofton who made the catch. Yes, a little guy at 5'3", 137 pounds, but that's his 8th catch of the year. I guess he's one of those guys that can get lost out there at that size.
I'll tell you what, who else is getting lost is that center from Evangel having a night of his life trying to block Richard Anderson one-on-one right there out in the middle of the field. I don't know if you saw that on your replay, folks at home, but that is a tall chore. Anderson just applies the pressure up the center on Pop Houston. Houston just has got to get out there and get rid of the ball, and he can evade the rush. He can get moving, and he's dangerous when he's out running around with open grass in front of him. And then, you know, obviously he can either run the football or deliver the football as he did that time for a nice completion.
We have a break in the action here with 7:37 to play in the first quarter. A chance to remind you that tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner. Lamarck Pre-Owned has a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, all makes and models. We have great deals. Must be a reason. I know this is one of Ronnie Lamarck's favorite times of the year as we segue from Thanksgiving to the Christmas season.
He's going to start singing.
All right. Isn't
he going to start singing? Yeah,
Maybe.
no
Maybe.
doubt,
All right.
no
All
doubt.
right. Are the decorations up at the Kaisers?
Yeah, they started today.
Okay.
I got half of it out of the attic. I got to go to the storage room and get the other half.
Okay.
Yeah, they're half up. I got to do the outside. Here's our polecat again.
Yep.
Swinging gate both sides. Really unbetter.
Houston's pass caught, but just nowhere to run. You in a lot of cases, you're not getting the opportunity to get any kind of yards after catch as Hicks makes that catch.
And here's what you got to do defensively. They went 3 to one side, 3 to the other, and no one from Karr came to the press box side of the field, the wide side of the field. So watch. You see how they're dividing? You try to balance up defensively with their numbers and your numbers. Now they're balanced nicely. You see 3 on 3, 3 on 3 at the top? You got a problem when you're not balanced.
Right. Houston handles the high snap, incomplete.
You know, I know for our folks at home, you know, you just don't see this style of offense too much, right? Like, what are they doing, correct? You know?
Right.
Well, they're trying to spread the field, create isolations, one-on-ones with the guys in purple, right? Karr. So in order to do that, you've got to be able to get your guys spread across the field. But to defend it, you got to balance up. That's what I'm trying to explain to everybody. Make sure you have the right numbers.
All right, so the line to make the 49 to keep this drive in motion for the Eagles from Shreveport. And got a scramble. Now he throws. Pass is caught. What a play. DeMarcus Evans on the catch.
What an
and a
athletic
first
play.
down.
What an athletic play by Pop Houston.
Yeah, avoiding the rush and then making that pass. Take another look.
You can see the pressure coming off the edge untouched right there because there's no offensive lineman to touch him. I believe that was Balin Randall, if I'm not mistaken. Gets after him, and he delivers the ball sidearm on the target.
So at the 38, little screen pass is going nowhere, but they'll push it forward for about a gain of 1.
I mean, the only reason I think they're doing this completely 100% and not getting back into their normal offense is maybe they don't think they can block those guys up front. They don't have enough physical talent to be able to block the front 4 from the Karr Cougars or that front 7. I'm not exactly sure.
Oh.
That would be my only guess.
Obviously, they've got flexibility what they could do. They could take the whole line, shift them right, take the whole line, shift them left, and incomplete that time as Houston was looking for Evans, and it was well covered out here in the near side flat.
Yeah, Torrance Sanders does a great job coming up and making a tackle in the open field. Watch this. Nicely done right there. Ball sails a little bit high, which makes DeMarcus Evans have to extend to go up and get it. And Torrance Sanders comes in and makes a great tackle. Deepest penetration so far tonight for Evangel, obviously.
So the offensive line will shift to the short side this time. Houston trying to get away. He does. Now he'll run. Can he get to the sticks? No, he's run out of bounds by Aiden Hall after a gain of about 4. And look, we're in 4-down territory right here with the ball at the 33-yard line, so no doubt what we're about to see.
Great coverage by Karr. That was the deal. You can see they're snapping the ball to him at about 12 yards, right? You would think the rush wouldn't get to him, but if he holds on to the football, they are going to get to him sooner or later because of their speed, right? No one was open in a white jersey. Great job by the secondary on the back end to make him have to hold that ball and take off.
So 4th and 4. Pass is batted down, and it was Romeo Brown from his defensive end spot providing the rush and the PBU to get the Karr defense off the field.
He gets up in the air and just bats that thing down like it's a volleyball. Great athleticism by Romeo Brown, 6'3", 240-pound senior.
56 seconds left in the first. Curtis 7, Sterling's Catholic 0. Still in the first quarter, St. Aug 14, Rebel 0.
So, of course, be sure to stay with us all night long. We'll keep you up to date on what is going on and the other 31 games in Louisiana high school football. Ken Trahan and I will break down all 8 brackets coming up at halftime this evening. All right, so it's Carr taking over at the 32-yard line. Evangel shows blitz. And a nice run by Garrison. The pile just moves forward. And the best offensive play of the night for Carr and their first down of the evening. Gain of 11.
Well, he ran into a big pile, and then he just moves the pile. Look at the strength of Garrison right here, trying to run inside zone right there. And look at this. Ton of guys right there. Purple will not get off of their blocks. Very nice job there. They pick up the first down.
Garrison once again bounces it left. Nicely done for a gain of about 6. And it's 2nd and 4 as the ball nears midfield.
You know, we've watched Trey Garrison all year long. He's 5'11", 190, but he plays much bigger than that.
Came in with over 1,100 yards rushing. Now they try to get Anthony Thomas out in space. And he gets the first down out past the 40 to the Evangel. Let's see if they'll mark it at the 40 or the 39. They're going to put it down at the 40-yard line.
When they get these skill guys out in space, they're just hard to defend, right? I mean, got a little movement there.
We get flags before this one can get underway.
Nick Lopez is pleading his case. Big left tackle.
Officials talking about it here. They wear wireless headsets, and they're going to call offside against Evangel.
Yeah, the big left tackle, Leon Doyle from Karr, who was a Nebraska commit.
One time. Now he has another one that has flipped. He's now headed to Mississippi State.
Well, I didn't catch that
one.
Well,
look, you almost need a news ticker just to keep up with all of the Carr recruiting news. You really do.
But he's a good football player. But he won that argument with the judge. And
so now it's 1st and 5. Evangel's going to show blitz. Johnson, pass is too high in the direction of Xavier Owens,
who was a Fresno State commit.
Originally out of California, moved to Louisiana.
Right. There you go.
And is his first year at Carr, and yes, he is headed to Fresno State.
Well, I tell you what, he's a good player, right? And he's one of these guys they picked up on, and when he finally got eligible, he's added a lot to this offense as this season has gone through for Carr.
So Johnson, yet to run it, yet to complete a pass. Now he's going to put it down and go. 30, 25, 20, still on his feet. It runs out of bounds inside the 20, looks like to about the 18-yard line.
Well, Johnson's like a starting pitcher for the Dodgers, right? I mean, he might be a little high in the first couple of innings, but then all of a sudden he's going to find his groove and his zone. A lot of times by him just taking off and running that ball helps him find that groove.
So here's Garrison left side, room to run into the end zone, touchdown Cougars.
That's what Trey Garrison does. He sees things closed up inside. What does he do? He uses his feet. They're really quick. He makes a jump cut to the left-hand side. Watch your jump, cut outside, bounces it outside. Great blocking by those Carr receivers on the edge. He walks into the end zone for another Carr Cougar score.
4:08 remaining in the first quarter. Extra point try from Castillon to make this a 16-0 game. Kick is no good. It is no good. It is no good.
Well, Evangel's going to have to do something here offensively, get on the board, or this thing can get out of hand really quick, right? Because we have seen, how the Carr Cougars can put up a high score within just a matter of minutes. And if they can't answer, they're in trouble.
Well, 6 plays, 68 yards, took just a minute 19. So Carr's only had the football for 2 minutes and 37 seconds, and they lead this game 15-0.
And that's what I'm saying. It can get out of hand real fast, right? You gotta find an answer somehow.
Well, if you're Evangel,
right? I'm getting
you gotta throw the
right.
ball over the park. So it's you
got to throw, but I got to also get out of the whole swinging gate thing. I've got to be able to at least dance with what brought me here, right? And I got to venture. We have not seen them on film. We have not covered their games. We have not seen them in North Louisiana. But I venture to say
they can do a little bit of everything. Obviously,
correct.
you see the multiple formations.
Exactly, and they need to get back to what brought them here, and they need to be a little bit more succinct in what they're doing offensively. Those are my feelings on that subject, right?
Kickoff, taken in at about the 13-yard line. Oh, a big hit right at about the 20, falling forward to about the 22 is DeMarcus Evans, and once again, Carr is starting inside its 20, or I should say Evangel is starting inside its 25-yard line.
Wellington Cornyn brought the wood there on the kickoff coverage. Impressed with the coverage teams from Carr. Look, offensively you're good, defensively you're good. You know what really gets you to the dome? Special teams, right?
Well, one thing we saw,
coverage.
Castillon can kick.
Right, yeah,
okay?
exactly.
And he's not just a place kicker. I mean, obviously we saw the kick, the last play of regulation to send the game against American Heritage to overtime.
Correct. So special teams get you to the dome. They get you into that state championship game. Carr plays great special teams.
So the deep snap to Houston. Pass is intercepted. Oh, it dropped. It was in and out of the hands of, I believe that was Torrance Sanders. Or check that, Aiden Hall, 0.
Aiden Hall just bounced out of his hands.
Those numbers start crunching up a little bit.
Right.
I couldn't tell the difference between a 0 and a 9 right there.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's, yep.
Oh, look, he knows it. He knows it.
Yep.
He wants that one back.
He had jumped that route. That was intended for DeMarcus Evans. Second and 10 at the 23. Houston pulls it down, now throws. This pass is intercepted. Hayward Howard with his 3rd interception of the year, and just like that, the Cougar defense has capitalized again.
Well, the pressure's applied. Nice adjustment by that Carr defense again. They ended up getting a chance to get 4 guys in pressure onto Pop Houston, right? Pop Houston makes a bad decision. He just sails the ball down the center of the field, and with the speed that they have in the secondary from Carr, they're going to run that down, and Haywood Howard just goes and gets it. He's a Texas commit. Comes in with 2 interceptions on the year, 11 pass breakups. This cat can play.
Johnson looking to take a shot. Passes in and out of the hands of his receiver. That was Xavier Owens on the near side. Was a little bit underthrown. Owens adjusted his route. He was right there. And you get another look here, Wade.
Yeah, key word adjusted, right? Ball was thrown to the inside from the coverage, right? He's got man coverage out there. You can see
Jaden Hicks is in the coverage,
The defender, Jaden Hicks, gets just completely turned around like a top. Makes a great adjustment to the ball. Just drops it, hits him in his hands.
On 2nd and 10. Johnson is taken down in the backfield. And I believe that was Dawson once again, and he is hobbling off the field. Keep an eye on that situation.
Yeah, they can't lose that guy. He's a player now. Nice swim move right there. Beats the tackle to the inside. Did everybody see the swim move out there?
It just got one hand to look like. Just got one hand on him.
Yeah, just got one hand on him and just ragdolled him to the ground, and he gets up limping. He might have twisted that ankle. They're getting him over into the tent right now.
You talk about some strength right there. So 3rd and 18. It's like a little bit of confusion in the Carr formation. Now they get settled. Johnson is going to put it down and run, but nowhere to go. Somebody lost a helmet there. It might have been Johnson.
That was Johnson. Helmet comes off.
Yeah, they blow it dead right away, and you're really not supposed, once the helmet comes off, the play is dead.
Right.
But you're in the process of trying to tackle the guy. I don't know that you can actually stop making a tackle at that point.
See, he makes a decision to continue to try to press the run. He needs to get rid of that ball a little bit sooner, just throw it away, and understand I need to come back and play another down. That's dangerous, the way he's holding the ball in his hand. Could have been fumbled. Helmet gets hit, slapped off his head. He's in trouble with the run. Let's just throw that football away.
Looks like Carr's going to send the punting unit on, and if it wasn't fourth down in a punting situation, Johnson would have to leave the game. Unless you call the timeout.
Correct.
So 4th and 17 at the 39. The one time we have seen Carr punt this evening, and this is the second time now, but the first time the punt was down inside the 1 yard line, and that led to a safety. So you talk about special teams making plays. The punt will not take the roll this time, and it is down at about the 26-yard line. And on their 5th possession of the night, Evangel has their best field position.
Let's go, Cole. Let's save this go.
As you get another look at the boot that went 35 yards. Check it. They'll put it. No, they're putting it to the 26-yard line. Okay.
Well, Evangel's going to have to come up with something here, as I've said before, and Pop Houston is a guy that can motivate and get things done with his legs and with his arms. I just like to see him get rid of that ball faster. That means they're going to have to get separation on their routes. They're not getting separation on these routes. Now, credit the Karr Cougar secondary for their coverage skills with that, and that's putting a lot of pressure on Pop Houston to be able to try to run around and make something happen. Here we go. They might be in a normal formation now.
They'll stay in that. Try to run it, and they've got nothing doing up the middle, and guess who blew it up? It is Richard Anderson just getting into the backfield to take down Keontae Mims, a guy they call K2.
Well, he's in a huge mismatch up there on the offensive line.
Well, that's the unless he's playing on Sunday against the Saints, then I think it may be a mismatch against anybody he's going against.
Correct, and I can understand why Evangel is trying to spread things out, because they know they're going to have trouble blocking these guys running right straight at them. But you got to give them a little bit of dish of it to be.
So it's 2nd and 14. Houston takes that 12-yard shotgun snap and throws incomplete, and it's going to be 3rd down.
Did you see how far back he was in the shotgun? He was 12 yards. Anybody knows the history of Evangel football, you might remember when Denny Duron was the head coach there many, many years ago in the 90s. Okay. He had a slew of great quarterbacks that went through there, right?
It was
Josh Booty being one of them. Brock Berlin. And they all ran an offense.
David Booty, Philip Dees. You had so many of them. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some in there, but they were, that's what they did. They took the deep shotgun snap. Passes incomplete. That was intended that time for Chikalon High, the junior wide receiver DB, and you've got a punt here on 4th down at 14.
And the whole philosophy behind being 12 yards deep in the shotgun was it's going to slow down the rush. The routes would get a chance to get separated a lot quicker, and you can get the ball out a lot sooner without having pressure, right? That was the whole theory that was brought in. Well, here tonight, what's happening is, whether they're in the polecat formations or whatever you want to call the formation, they're just not getting separation with their receivers from the Karr coverage, and that's putting pressure on Pop Houston to get rid of the ball.
We got a flag right as this was snapped. All the Karr return team getting out of the way. This seems like it could have rolled a couple of more yards, but a sliding down of that punt at the 49-yard line. But let's see if they make them punt it again, and they're going to take the football right here.
Well, somebody was moving.
I think, it was illegal motion.
Yeah, correct.
I think I heard re-kick. So
right.
They get another shot at seeing this. So now it'll be, back it up, it'll be 4th and 19 with the ball at the 17-yard line.
Any way you look at it, Carr's going to get the ball in great field position again.
Yeah, with 1:14 remaining in the first quarter.
And if there's anything we've seen with Karr all year long, down in distance and time really doesn't matter to them, right?
No doubt.
They can strike from anywhere on the field at any down and distance with any time on the clock with the athletic talent that they have on their offense.
Well, and the other thing is you presumably give Wilford another chance to return one here, and he is a threat to take it to the house every time he touches the ball.
You just don't.
That's a low snap, and I'm not sure they're going to play. That's the right call. This is down inside the 5-yard line. He went to a knee to field the low snap, and he is down. Carr's going to have the football inside the 5-yard line. If we get another look at that one there, you'll see what happened with the low snap. And that's something, look, you're going to have low snaps, but you got to teach your punter, do not go down to a knee to try to field it.
Right.
Take a look here.
When it rains, it pours. He's down.
Yep.
Ball's
No doubt.
down at the 3-yard line. No doubt about it. I mean, when it rains, it's pouring, and it's pouring right now for Evangel. They can't get anything right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's stuff you coach, right? You work on a bad ball drill, at least twice a week with your kickers, right? You put them with their back in their end zone. You give them bad snaps. What do they do in certain situations? If it is a bad snap, do you take the safety? Yeah, bad ball drill.
Garrison left side, makes one man miss and walks into the end zone. Touchdown.
Again, he uses his quick feet to jump cut to his left and walk into the end zone untouched.
21-0 Carr with a point after coming.
Jump cut right there. Touchdown right there.
Bennett Spear, the linebacker and the leading tackler on this team, just ended up grabbing an air right there. Point after is good, and with 1:06 to play in the first quarter, your new score, Edna Karr 22 and Evangel Christian nothing. Gives us a chance. Let's take a look at some scores here in the other 3 Division I select games. Second quarter now, Alexandria on the road leads Catholic 3-0. First quarter over at Tad Gormley, St. Aug leads Rummel 21-3. Second quarter in Lafayette in what is a rematch from a playoff game a year ago, John Curtis Christian leading Turlings Catholic 7-0. If those two hold up, it will be John Curtis and St. Aug in a semifinal game played presumably at Gormley next Friday night. On the non-select Division I side, second quarter South Side, the 8th seed leads Ruston 21-14. Second quarter Central of Baton Rouge leads Zachary 14-7. Second quarter Washita Parish, the 14th seed on the road leading Parkway 14-8. And second quarter Neville leading the Cinderella Barb 14-0. Kickoff will come to about the 12-yard line. And coming back to the far side and out past the 30 and still on his feet. 35, makes a man miss. 40, still on his feet, and he may go the distance. Unless he can get caught from behind, he will not. 10-5, touchdown to Marcus Evans, 88 yards. And there are no flags.
Well, DeMarcus Evans gets over there and makes 2 or 3 people miss. He runs east and west. We said we don't want to do that against Karr, but he does it. He gets to his right. They set up a nice wall over there. A couple blocks he picks up with the white jerseys, and he makes a couple of purple jerseys miss right there and right there and right there. Very nicely done. He breaks out into the open with a caravan of white jerseys, and he runs away from everybody in the stadium tonight. That is the spark, possibly, that the Eagles need to get back into this football game.
All right, point after try. Of course, they're going to run the swinging gate on this. So
Yeah, you're in the swinging gate on everything. Or
Right.
I call it polecat, whatever you want to call it.
Kick is on the way, and it is no good, wide right. So your new score is Karr 22 and Evangel 6 with 48 seconds to play here in the first quarter.
Lenny, what's important about that, especially to Evangel, is that shows that they can dent this wall, right? Whether you do it offensively, you do it defensively, you do it with special teams, we can dent this wall. We can get into the end zone. It gives them life. It gives them hope, and it gives them something they can hang on to.
You see an explosive play.
Correct.
Obviously, that is a lot of where they're hanging their hat. They're not sitting there lining up, running the ball between the tackles 3 yards in a cloud of dust. This is a team that is going to get it done. I mean, we talked about the numbers. 50.5 points a game, 221 yards a game rushing, 326 through the air, 547 total yards a game.
No doubt.
This is a team that can move the football up and down the field, and they can do it in a hurry.
Right, and just a little pep in your step, right? It creates better body language. It opens your eyes a little bit, and gives you that breath of fresh air that you need as an offensive, as a football team right now.
Right. Karr is fully expecting the onside kick here, as they've got 9 men lined up between the 40-yard line and midfield, and honestly, at this point, nothing would surprise me. So,
well, there you go. They do the old run at the ball, stop, and go back and line up.
Right. Now they'll back some guys off of there until they do. Now they'll back up 3 men back to the 30-yard line. And your kickoff, this is a boomer. This is into the end zone for a touchback. John Johnson's first completion of the night.
Yeah, like I said, he started off with a couple of innings. He just can't hit the strike zone, but he'll get into his groove. He works himself into his groove, and a lot of times by just taking off and running with the football, as I said earlier, that kind of helps him get back into his zone, right? Big defensive lineman down over there again for Evangel. I can't tell the number. That might be Ashton Dawson
That might be Dawson again for the second time
is.
here. Yeah, that's 30.
Yeah, it looks like he's dealing with an ankle issue.
Yep. Yeah, Dawson starting left end for this Eagle defense. And Arkansas commit 6'2", 287 pounds, came in with 97 tackles and 5 sacks. He's got 18 tackles for loss on the year. So he is, in terms of
it's good football
what this Evangel team can do on defense, he is certainly one of the guys that's there to make it happen.
Yeah, well, he's part of the heart and soul of their defense, and he's a good player, right? I mean,
he's up. That's a good sign. Let's see if he can walk off on his own. He's going to get a little help and be very ginger about it.
The problem with those ankle injuries is certain people handle them one way, certain people handle them another way, right? And in a lot of instances, big guys have a hard time because they're putting a lot of weight down on those hinges around there, right? And they're just hard to work through sometimes for big guys.
And looks like Karr's just going to stay on the sideline and not even come back out here before the first quarter runs out. So that will do it for 12 minutes of football that, if you're scoring at home, took almost 50 minutes to play. After one quarter at Morris Jeff Stadium in Algiers, your score, Edna Karr 22 and Evangel 6. You are watching high school football on Crescent City Sports and the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. Stay with us.
Let's go. Let's move the chain. Steelers back on the attack. First down and 10 from their own 40. Move the chain. Let's move the chain, baby. Move the chain.
All right, underway in the second quarter from the 40-yard line. Garrison on first down lost about 1.
That's Bennett Spear on that tackle.
First time we did call his name
Oh,
earlier.
yeah.
First time we called his name on a tackle this evening.
And he's a sophomore. Look, Evangel, for the most part, is a young football team, starting a bunch of sophomores in that secondary, a few guys on that 7-man front of theirs, and one of them is Bennett Spear right there with 145 tackles he comes in with.
Now Johnson over the middle. Two guys had a chance to make a play on that. His receiver, Floyd Jones, and the defender there, Seth Collins, the corner, both had their hands on the football.
Yeah, John Johnson sailing the ball a little bit, right? He's just a little off target. We haven't seen him miss that square in all year. He just missed Floyd Jones wide open underneath the safety above the linebackers right there, and it's just off his hands. He's lucky he didn't get that picked.
So 3rd down and 12 for the Cougars. Johnson. Pass is high, but it's brought in, but it's just short of the first down. It's going to be a gain of 11, and it's going to be 4th and 1, and it's decision time for Bryce Brown.
Evangel rush 3, drop 8 right there. Ball nicely thrown by John Johnson over here to his intended receiver right there. And great catch, but just a little bit short of the sticks. As you said, it looks like they're going to elect to punt the football.
They're going to send out the punting unit. Glenn Gurley is the punter. When you've got this good of a defense, right?
Yeah, you punt the ball.
Why not? Yeah, why not?
Exactly.
Well, whistle before this one can get started. Oh, it's a delay of game. I'm sorry.
And in most instances, you're okay. You're fine with that. I mean,
maybe
go
they
ahead,
were
punt that ball, play good defense.
Yeah,
you're in good shape.
Then maybe that was all part of it, is trying to see if
maybe
the rush would jump, and
yeah.
So now it's 4th and 6.
It's a cat and mouse game, my friend. It's a cat and mouse game. That means you got to be able to block and tackle and run the football and catch the football while playing cat and mouse.
Now we got offside against Carr.
Somebody lined up in the neutral zone, and I believe it was the gunner at the top of your screen lines up out there in the neutral zone. That looked like that might have been Trevante Washington, number 25. He was the gunner at the top of your screen.
Well, now everybody's in tight this time, and the punt is going to be fielded at the 30-yard line. So Evangel will take over here with 9:57 to play in the first half. They'll put the football down at the 31-yard line, so officially a 30-yard punt. So give Evangel's defense some credit here. Now, they've had to deal with, you look at what's happened thus far, okay? Karr has 2 points on a safety. They got 7 on a free kick return. They got another touchdown when they started a drive at the 2-yard line after a low punt snap got taken with one knee on the ground. So and they the Evangel defense has forced Carr to punt 3 times already. The pressure came up the middle from Anderson. Houston got away, completed the pass for a gain of about 2. Evans on the catch, and that's a great play all the way around there. Anderson, Houston, Evans. Everybody showed you something right there.
Watch Richard Anderson, if we get a chance to take a look at the replay right here. He is just wearing out Weston Johnson, the center from Evangel. I mean, it's like a Mack truck you can't even stop.
So 2nd down and 8, the ball at the 33-yard line. He'll go quick this way, and that is blown up. The times they've tried to run any kind of screen pass behind the line, with to the side where all of the offensive line is up, as Mims takes this one and is brought down immediately by Aiden Hall.
Yeah, well, you got to get a body on him, right? If you can't get a body on him, then this is going to be your result in your quick game and your screen game, right? Why is it a screen? You got a blocker out in front. You got to get a body on a body and let your guy run with the football once you throw it into his hands. They're not getting a body on a body.
So now it's 3rd down and 14. The sticks say 4th down on the far side, but this is 3rd down and 14. Houston is going to have to scramble. He runs. He might be able to get to the sticks here, and I think he might have come up just a little bit short. We'll have to wait for the spot, but a great athletic play by Pop Houston just to keep that play alive after Carr broke through with some pressure, and he might have gotten a first down. Waiting on a signal here. They are going to say first down.
Well, you see his athleticism, right? He runs away from Cornell Williams. They're spelling a few of those Carr defensive linemen right now because they're having to chase this cat around, right? Watch him run away from these guys in purple. They have angles on him, right? And he makes them look silly. He's athletic. He's quick. He's just hard to contain.
Houston coming this way. Pass is caught. Gain of about 2. That is, I believe, 4 receptions tonight for Evans.
Yeah, he comes in with 893 yards on the season, right, and 13 TDs. He's definitely one of the favorite targets of Pop Houston. Get the ball in his hands, he can make people miss, right? But you got to get the ball in his hands, and they've gotten in his hands 3 times tonight, and not much of anybody else's.
This is really a key possession in my mind for Evangel right here. If they can find a way to get a touchdown here and make this a 1-score game, as Houston throws far side, pass is caught by Broderick Lofton, and maybe a yard. It's going to be 3rd down.
It quads to the wide side of the field, right? They're running everything off with the first 3 receivers, and they're running a little out route right there to be able to get the ball in his hands quickly and make something happen in open field. The problem is those guys in purple know how to close. They can close down open field real quick and make tackles in that open field, and that's what happened. Not a huge gain for the Eagles.
This is bordering on a sustained drive here, closing in on 4 minutes right now. Pass by Houston is high, coming this way in the direction of High, was the intended receiver.
The ball was high to high, right?
There you
go. And closing fast, though, he was getting pressured inside by you-know-who, Richard Anderson, right?
Yeah.
And you can see Pop Anderson kind of dropped his arm throwing level down to 3/4 sidearm, which I think is the reason why that ball sailed a little bit as he was trying to evade the rush.
Timeout Evangel to talk about this upcoming situation here. It's 4th down and 7 at the 44-yard line. That gives us a chance to remind you tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports, brought to you by Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute. Don't let a sports injury keep you sidelined. Our team offers health care for athletes with same-day appointments available near you. Visit ochsner.org/sportsmed to learn more. So we told you about Division I. Let's see what's going on in Division II right now. On the select side, second quarter, St. Charles Catholic leads E.D. White 7-0. First quarter, Madison Prep over University Lab 8-6. Those 2 winners would meet next Friday. St. Charles, of course, the number 1 seed. They could be at home in that situation. First quarter score, Vanderbilt Catholic and Lake Charles College Prep tied at 14. Second quarter, Shaw leads Loyola Prep 14-0. Should have reversed. Now 10-0 St. Charles. They have reached halftime in that game. Second quarter now, U-High leads Madison Prep 19-16, and Shaw leads Loyola Prep now 28-0 as they've gotten to the half in Shreveport. Fake the jet sweep, and now Houston's going to run with it. He lunges. I don't think he got there. What a terrific tackle as they're going to mark him, I believe, a couple of feet short of the first down, Wade.
Yes, they are. They're going to. He didn't make it. He's at least a yard short. At least a yard short. A lot of eye candy. They shift the offense again. They get cross motion across the formation. That was all set up for Pop Houston to run quarterback draw. He almost got there. Just couldn't get the ball out.
Ronell Kindell,
Carr
the
takes
linebacker, just held on for dear life there and brought him down right about midfield.
Right.
And that is where Carr will take over here with 6 minutes to play in the first half.
A lot of window dressing just to get Pop Houston some room there to run. He got the room. Great play by that Carr defense just to hold them off from a yard, and they're going to take over in midfield.
So from midfield, now Carr's going to run the jet sweep this time with Gregory Wilfred. And he gets out over the 30-yard line to about the 29-yard line, a gain of 21. We said Wilfred is a threat every time he touches the football.
Right, well, we've seen his jets already with the kickoff return, correct, off the safety. Right, well, now you see his jets coming across the formation in jet motion, gets the ball on the handoff sweep and just runs, gets on the edge and runs away from everything in a white jersey.
They'll run a little option this time. Pitch it. Garrison handles the juggle and gets the first down out to the 16-yard line. That was dangerous right there, Wade. The little bit of option they ran. The pitch was high. Garrison juggled it for a moment and then brought it in.
Everything John Johnson was doing tonight with the ball when he's leaving his hands is a little bit high, right? But I love the play call. I love the lead option. Nice pickup for a first down.
So at the 16, straight ahead, Garrison down near the 5-yard line. I think he's going to be just a little bit short of the first down. Let's wait for the spot.
He scored tonight twice off that exact play right there. Little bounce play right there. Everything's crammed up inside. Again, he uses his feet to get it bounced off the left tackle to find running room. Got a Evangel player down, it looks like.
So it's a gain of 10, and it's going to be first and goal at the 6-yard line after this player's.
Can't get a number on our injured Evangel player. But
I believe that might be 26. That's Aiden Carter, one of their starters. He moves around between safety and linebacker. Yeah. Sophomore. You talked about the youth on this team. There's not a lot of seniors on this defense.
That's not good. He's holding his shoulder with his hand up next to his chest. That signifies there's a shoulder issue, possibly a collarbone issue.
You hope he is okay. These programs, while 5 hours apart, one is private, one is part of a charter system, they've got a lot in common. Yeah. Obviously, the success they've had. Then you've got, their first state championships both came in 1993. Both of these became high schools back in, both in the 80s. So they won very quickly.
Correct. They've both put a lot of people in Division I programs around this country, right?
No question about it. Johnson, this looks like quarterback run all the way, and that is well defended by the Evangel defense. Javian Rogers got through for the loss of about a yard.
Yeah, you're correct. I mean, it's quarterback run everywhere on that play. There was no pitch, nothing. John Johnson took off to his right, lead blocker trying to get a block on Javian Rogers, who eludes and makes the play.
Second and goal. Johnson's going to keep it again, trying to get to the outside. He will walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Carr.
Again, dialed up quarterback run, right? I mean, quarterback draw, look one way, take off the other way. Watch. Just looks over to his right, and now I'm going to run the football. Look at the blocking out front. You can see it all downfield right there. Big offensive lineman right there. Leon Noyle down there leading for him as he walks into the end zone.
So it's a 28-6 Cougar lead after a 5-play, 50-yard drive that took a minute and 52 seconds. Point after by Castillon is good, and your new score is Edna Karr 29 and Evangel Christian 6.
3-yard touchdown scamper by number 1, Hollywood John Johnson.
So let's take a look at some of these other games at this point.
29, Evangel 6.
Over in Division 2 non-select. How about Bell Chase? Yeah, last week 7-6. This week 27-0 second quarter over West Feliciana.
Look,
Meanwhile, Lutcher is up 21-20 at Iowa in a 10 versus 2 game second quarter. That would be interesting if that holds up. Lutcher at Bell Chase in the semifinals next week.
Well, we saw earlier in the year just put a drubbing on South Platte, right? A perennial playoff team and a state champion from last year, right?
Yeah.
I tell you what, that's a good football team they have there at Bell Chase in Upper Plaquemine Parish.
You've got 2 high schools that play football in Plaquemines Parish. They're both looking to get to the Dome. What, last one if that happens, last one out of Plaquemines, please turn out the lights. Huh? All right, the kick out to the 15-yard line. And this is much better defended this time, as about the 28-yard line.
Yeah, Johnny Casey that time was taking it straight up a seam, and he got rattled, man. Somebody in a purple jersey just lit him up, and as he got up, kind of walking a little slowly over to the offensive huddle.
So Evangel will play, it looks like, at the 28-yard line.
Again, at this stage, everything is vital for Evangel to get some points, right? It's not just about catching up. It's about getting some belief and changing their body language like they did when they had the kickoff return.
Just see, we're working on our clock positioning for you right now. We'll have that restored in just a second. You see 4:01 to play here in the first half. South Platte, by the way, leading North Iberville 20-6 in the second quarter in that game. How about Riverside? Big one tonight at home, leading Ouachita Christian 17-7 in the second quarter. Houston will put it down and run, trying to get to the outside, and he's going to slide down at about the 43-yard line. That is a gain of 15 for Pop Houston. Now, we saw John Johnson show you his athletic ability, and now you see Pop Houston do the same.
Watch him explode right here. He drops it into another gear, and he starts. How many times do you see guys run away from Carr? You don't.
It doesn't. It doesn't happen very often.
Right. He was
We've
running
seen a couple
away.
of guys that look.
Right.
You saw it on the kickoff return as well with Evans.
Yes, this Pop Houston has some pop, right? He's got some explosion.
Houston, pressure's coming through. Houston trying to stay alive, backs up all the way to his 20-yard line, lets one fly into the bench, and incomplete.
They might look here, they might have some offensive linemen downfield on this. This might be an issue. I don't see the officials talking about it. I would be screaming right now if I was from the Carr sideline.
So 2nd and 10, the ball at the 43-yard line.
When you spread your offensive line out like that, you really don't – you have no sense of awareness where the offensive line actually is, and you might end up drifting downfield when your quarterback scrambles. That can become a problem.
Well, they had lined up all to the left. Now they're going to bring them all back in a conventional formation here. Houston looking for somewhere to go with it, and he doesn't have anywhere to go with it. Into the Carr bench, incomplete.
That's going to be a flag. That's 2 times in a row. I would be beside myself. They're discussing it right now. My goodness gracious.
But there is no flag down.
There is no
they were
flag
talking
now.
about it.
No,
but
they were talking
flag.
about. Let's see if what we can see in the area.
Well, First of all, it looks well. Now he moves back into the pocket,
Right.
but he left the pocket. The ball is past the line of scrimmage. So I guess he fulfills everything he needs to do to avoid grounding. Because once you leave the pocket, even if you come back, you are considered out of the pocket.
Yeah. It looked really close, right? Again, I would be pleading.
Houston. Pass is short of the intended receiver. That was K2 Mims, who was being covered that time by Kevin Martin. First time we've talked about him this evening. He reopened his commitment just a week or so ago, was headed to Alcorn. If you remember, with that game in the Dome against American Heritage, he was the one that made the fourth down tackle to end the game.
There's guys in purple jerseys are just running through the white jerseys like a sieve, right? But what is impressive is Evangel receivers cannot get a bit of separation. That's making Pop Houston have to hold that football. And that just spells disaster, right?
Right.
Yeah, talking about Kevin Martin, yeah, I remember that play. What a great play, huh?
Yeah. What a great game here.
Yeah.
That was that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So after the delay of game penalty, punt is away and fielded at the 37 and hit immediately is Wilfred. Nice kick coverage that time. That was Braylon Lewis, the sophomore. Well, was right there.
Let's go, John. Let's go deep.
Again, I love the toughness of Wilfred, right? I enjoy that a lot, but that he's got to learn to put that hand up. He will be taught that, I'm sure, at the next level when he gets those opportunities where, when he gets at UTSA.
Right.
And the deal is you put that hand up, that guy's got to back off. You got to feel that. The great ones feel it when somebody is pressing down their throat like that.
All right, Johnson now looking to take a shot, but doesn't have a man open, and he's going to be brought down right about the line of scrimmage. Maybe a loss of one on the play. That was Otis Washington, the senior linebacker. You're Otis Washington in these parts, and you immediately think of the great former head coach of the St. Aug Purple Knights, and then later at Southern University.
Well, exactly. I was writing his name down on my call sheet, and I said, wow. I sat back and paused for a moment, right? But credit Evangel's secondary that time. Everything was covered. I mean, great job. They were in a two-deep zone that time. Everything deep was covered, which alluded to that sack.
Johnson will keep that time, and looks like he got back to the original line of scrimmage, and it's going to be 3rd down and 10.
Yeah, Kristen Spate, one of the biggest guys on the Evangel Christian football team. Big number, 75, 6'3", 310. He's a senior. Did a nice job getting off his block and getting out there and corralling John Johnson, not allowing him to take off and run.
So on 3rd and 10, as the clock ticks in the first half. Johnson stepping, throwing over the head of his intended target, Wilfred, who was crossing and would have had the first down.
Very unlike John Johnson not hitting that 14-yard square-in route. We have seen him hit that all year long. That is one of the staple routes that he and Wilfred like to connect on. Especially when you have a too-high coverage and they're splitting the two safeties that are on the hashes. That square-in route sitting right there just sails again for John Johnson.
The punt by Gurley will take a Carr bounce and be down just past the 25, call it the 26-yard line. It's a 37-yard punt, and that's where Evangel will take over with. 1:24 to play. Remember, Evangel won the toss, took the football, so Carr's going to get the ball to start the third quarter. If you're Evangel, whether you're you're going tempo here, whatever. You got to find a way to get something on the board here before the end of the first half.
Got to make sure you eat up that 124 any way you look at it and come off with some points somehow, some way. You don't want to give Carr another shot at it just before halftime, where they can possibly double up.
Again, you see the formation with all the offensive linemen to the left. Now they'll shift back into the conventional look. Houston will let one fly deep, and it is over the head of his receiver and actually closer to a Carr defender. That was Maurice Williams in coverage that time, the Colorado commitment, 5'10", 185-pound senior at his free safety spot.
He had help to the inside. He had a nice job having outside leverage, not allowing the receiver to get onto his outside shoulder and run to that vertical ball that was thrown by Pop Houston, right? Great job, great defensive awareness by Maurice Williams, knowing where his help was, and his help was to his inside.
So with 1:17 to play, Houston pass incomplete, tried to run the slant that time towards Charlie Abraham, and that was Howard once again. Called his name quite a few times this evening. The Texas commit, 6'2", 170 pounds, breaking that up.
Watch him drive this football and get the proper hand in there and rake this thing. Nicely done, nicely coached. Love to see defensive backs play with great technique, and you see these guys at Carr play with great technique. That's a credit to that coaching staff.
1:13 to play, and I'm sure Bryce Brown, Torres Howard, and company are on the Carr sideline are thinking, a chance to get the ball back here. Houston, nowhere to go with it. The pressure was coming, and he threw it out of bounds.
Yeah, he had an intended receiver there. Jaden Hicks was over there. I don't think he was trying to hit Jaden Hicks with the ball. He was just trying to save his life and get rid of the football as purple jerseys were bearing down on him, led by Juelz Baptiste, almost getting there for another sack.
So it's 1:05 to play here, and Evangel's going to have to send the punting unit on. So Carr's going to get one more shot at the football, with the football, I should say.
With great field position.
And let's see, first of all, happens when the ball gets in the hands of Greg Wilfred. A little bit of a high snap. It's handled. Wilfred, near side, will field it at the 36-yard line. Now tries to come back this way. Tries to continue to make men miss. Didn't do much with it. Maybe got a couple on the return to the 38-yard line. And that is where the Cougars will start with 53.1 seconds to play.
Yeah, plenty of time for these guys, right? I mean, they're so electrifying. Time means nothing to them where they are on the field. You see, the problem is Evangel can't run the football, right? So here they are. They throw 3 straight passes that are incomplete, and all of a sudden you got 53 seconds, and Carr gets a chance to double up here, right? Score prior to half, getting the ball coming out the second half.
And we're going to have a timeout Evangel before this one can get underway.
You know, when you can't run the ball, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble. The clock becomes your enemy in a lot of instances, right? So everybody hears the old adage, right? You just can't be one-sided. You got to be able to be balanced offensively. Tonight they can't run the football against this Carr defense. Good to see Ashton Dawson taking the field again.
Yeah,
remember, he was out with an ankle injury. He's back out there lining up. It looks like he's all spatted up, man. He's got a heavy tape on that ankle.
And look, he's clearly a difference maker. You know, there's a lot of difference makers in purple, and you look at this Evangel defense. They've got to be able to come up with some kind of stops. And look, they've held their own here. Like we talked about, a lot of what Carr's been able to do is as a result of their defense and special teams. Johnson going to take a shot deep, got a man, and it is incomplete. That would have been an unbelievable catch right there by Anthony Thomas over the shoulder, as that was literally right over the top. That would have been Willie Mays-esque right there.
Absolutely. He had at least 2 steps on the defender running away from him, and it seems as if the ball lost a little gas somewhere in the air and just couldn't get to him, right? And he was trying, like as you said, the old Willie Mays over-the-shoulder catch. Couldn't come down with it.
So 45.6 seconds to play. It's 2nd and 10. They're going to give it away on the ground to Garrison, who's got the first down and more, out of bounds at the Evangel 43-yard line. It's a gain of 14.
Boy, as I said earlier, I love the way this guy runs. Look how he can run the counter right here. He's waiting for everything to get set up, and then he just explodes when he sees the crease, right? Look, he's 190 pounds. I think he runs heavier than 190 pounds. It seems like people just bounce off of him.
They're going to put 36 seconds back on the clock.
Let's go, John. Let's bring it in, baby. Let's go.
Keep in mind, Castellon's a good kicker. You get this thing, inside the 20-yard line perhaps. He's got a chance to do something there. Johnson's pass is caught. And timeout Carr, it looks like, after the catch by Floyd Jones.
Yeah, great little stop route right at the sticks to move the sticks, right? Floyd Jones having great football awareness and position awareness, knowing where to get the sticks, to move the sticks.
So 29 and a half seconds to play here.
A lot of time, 29-5. You say, well, that isn't a lot of time, but they have a timeout left. And, they can explode from anywhere on this field at any point in time.
No doubt. They can no doubt they can score from anywhere.
As I said, time and distance, down in distance really doesn't mean a thing to this Carr offense.
So they're going to call it the 32-yard line. It's a gain of 11 on the catch by Jones. 29.5 to play. Each team with 1 timeout. Johnson will step up. He's going to try to get to the perimeter. He's there. 25. He's run out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. And it's another Carr first down with 19.4 to play.
He wanted to throw that football. He was looking for Wilfred on a skinny post route. I tell you what, Evangel did a nice job in their man coverage, man free, and the route just wasn't there. So you can see the experience Johnson has. He steps up into the pocket, still trying to hold on to that ball just a second. Is it going to come open? No. Then what does he do? He just takes off, and he's just hard to catch. He knows where he's got to get in order to get the first down. Then he gets out of bounds. That's a senior quarterback that has kind of done it all, if you want to put it that way.
Well, the scoreboard is out completely now.
Yep.
Scoreboard has gone off completely. We'll have to rely on the announcements that we get in terms of.
Somebody hit the cord, I think, right? They need to go plug it back in. So they'll keep the time on the field.
Oh, now it's back.
There we go. Okay, there we go. Somebody went and plugged it in. I told you.
The scene in Airplane where they unplug the lights and the air traffic control tower. Johnson's going to step up, look for a man. It's intercepted, and there's room to run down the near sideline. This has a chance to go somewhere, but a terrific tackle from behind, and Johnny Casey, who plays wide receiver DB, makes the interception and gets the Evangel defense off the field here in the 2-minute drill.
John Johnson steps up. He's got the receiver open on top of the defenders right there. Not enough air into the ball. Underthrows the ball, and it's picked by Casey down the boundary. Look, that's a huge play. Huge play going in. It's with going into the locker room at halftime that you can actually come out and build off of.
All right. So is this a Hail Mary situation here that's you just let one fly at this point?
I don't think you have anything to lose right here. I think you take a shot. He can definitely throw this football, but you got to protect, right? Just if you're going to take a shot, you don't want to get sacked. They just haven't been able to protect tonight. They can't block these guys.
They're going to try and run a screen, and guess who was in the way of Day Drake? Richard Anderson for the tackle, and a loss of 5 on the play, on the final play of the first half. That has been all Edna Karr in this Division I quarterfinal.
He read that from the get-go. He saw something was up when a quarterback was taking another drop from 12 yards back after receiving a shotgun snap. So his instincts and his ears pop up, and he just sits at home. The screen crosses his path. Drake crosses his path, catches the ball, and he just racks him up. Richard Anderson is a great football player. What a great talent LSU is getting.
All right, so we are at halftime. It's Edna Karr 29, Evangel 6. Earlier this week, Ken Trahan and I had a chance to preview all of the quarterfinal matchups, as you see on your screen right now, while we get ready to take you to that. If you want to check out all the scores on our All-State Sugar Bowl scoreboard at CrescentCitySports.com, point your QR code right at the screen. It'll take you right to it. But in the meantime, Ken Trahan and I had a chance to break down the 32 games going on this weekend, and let's take a look at that.
All right, Ken, we're back at one of our favorite spots, Musbertolino Stadium at Ed Daniels Field. This is obviously one of our friends' favorite weekends of the year. When you get down to the quarterfinals, we've talked about it ad nauseum. If you're practicing on Thanksgiving, like our other late great friend Rick Gailey used to say, it's been a good year, right? So we've got 64 teams in action, 8 brackets, 8 teams left. It doesn't get much better. Short of getting to the Dome, it doesn't get much better than this because you've still got a ton of action across the state this weekend.
Yeah, you do. Good matchups, and you're not going to find any bad teams now. You're not going to find any average teams now. Every team left is above average. Some are way above average. Others are maybe just slightly above average, but that's what you get with the split with 8 classes. But still, these are good teams.
All right, let's start on the non-select side as we do. And as we start here, let's tell you this. High seeds last weekend went 53-11. That's 83%. But you'll see here at the outset, when we get into Division I non-select to begin with, we got 3 upsets that are alive here. In fact, one very big one, the highest seed remaining on the board in the 26-seed Barb, who gets to make the trip to Neville. Oh, by the way, this is the second year in a row that Neville's going to host a team that has pulled off 2 upsets in the first 2 rounds. Last year was Chalmette as a 24. Now they've got Barb as a 26. You've also got Zachary at 13, Ouachita Parish at 14, having pulled upsets a weekend ago and going back on the road this weekend. Your thoughts?
Well, it's Zachary Central. I mean, this is a rivalry game. It's a rematch game. Zachary's playing better now. Central, as I've mentioned before, David Simino's done a great job this year. A lot of people thought it might be rebuilding, but no, they've been really good. So that, to me, is the feature matchup in that class. You got to like what Barb's been able to do, scoring the points they've scored. Tremendous win over West Monroe. Don't think they can duplicate that again going up to Monroe this week, but they've had a great time. Lower seed Ouachita Parish, I like them at Parkway, and that game is an upset special. And, of course, Ruston, I think, will hold up against Southside.
Of course, Central is the defending champion there, trying to get back to the Dome. In Division II non-select, you got 3 more upset winners from a week ago, including the defending champion Cecilia, heading to Plaquemine in a 5-13 game. We saw this one a year ago in the semifinals when Cecilia won it 55-35. But in the other 3 matchups, you've got teams from our area. Franklinton headed to North DeSoto, Belle Chase at home against West Feliciana, and Lutcher headed to Iowa.
Well, first, I think you have to start with Lutcher because they were given up for dead halfway through the season, playing a freshman quarterback, young team, didn't look very good. Look at me now, right? Played phenomenally last week to win in overtime against arguably as talented, if not the most talented team in the class in Franklin Parish. So they serve notice. Iowa's undefeated, and they score a bunch of points, so that'll be a good matchup. Belle Chase, 7-6 last week. You don't see that much, but they play physical defense and they run the ball. They've got a good shot. Cecilia on the road, definite chance, rematch game. They have a real shot there to win again. Franklinton, quarterback matchup. Crane against Delafield, two really good quarterbacks. North DeSoto's been that team all year. They're going to be hard to beat.
Well, the last 2 weeks we've talked about Division III non-select, and especially how the bottom of the bracket you think is already destined to be St. James Sterlington. We are 1 week and 1 win away from that being a possibility.
Well, the problem there is Oak Grove. They're really good. I mean, Oak Grove beat Washita Christian, handed them their only loss, and beat them convincingly in Week 10. So that's a really good team. That's the beautiful matchup because you got Oak Grove, the physical pounded team, against St. James, who's got the ultimate skill team with Juwan Jackson and, of course, Villanueva. They just get after it speed-wise. They're really good, but Oak Grove is very physical. If St. James can stand up to that, they can hold serve at home. It's tough, but it's a really good matchup. That could be a dome matchup. Sterlington, I fully expect they'll win. Kinder at home against Union Parish. Union's made a good run. I think Kinder's good, and we'll win that game. And Gene at home against Mansfield, definitely a favorite.
No doubt about it. We go to Division IV non-select, and the one underdog, if you will, and it's not much of one, a 9 beating an 8 last week. Jonesboro Hodges advanced to have to go take on Haynesville, the number 1 seed here. You've got one local team hanging out there, but they happen to be the defending champion, the 3 seed South Platte.
Yeah, South Platte was not quite as good as it was last year, but they still have Rod Parker at quarterback. And anytime you have that guy as your quarterback, as your leader, you've got a chance. And he's a playmaker, and he's really good. So give them a chance, certainly at home against North Iberville, to get to the semifinals. Mangum's good at the bottom of the bracket. Again, an offensive team that can score. Genneret's been good all year long. Logansport's good. That's an even matchup. And then, of course, Haynesville. Jonesboro Hodges is good, but Haynesville's not losing. I mean, they are the top seed for a reason and the best team in the class.
All right, we switch over to the select side, and you and I will be at 2 of these games on Friday night. You're at Tad Gormley for the 9-5A rematch between Archbishop Rummel, the 11th seed, and the lone road team to win a week ago, and St. Augustine. I'll be over at Morris Jeff, where Evangel makes the trip down to take on Edna Karr, in which there's going to be a lot of talent on display, particularly at the quarterback position. Your thoughts on this bracket?
Well, sure. Yeah, Pop Houston and John Johnson. So you've got a great matchup there. LSU commit, Washington State commit, and 2 offenses that are really good. The difference will be on the defensive side, I do believe, in that game. And then, of course, you mentioned Rummel and St. Augustine. 4th time they've met in the playoffs. History of the 2 schools. Rummel's won 2 of the 3. St. Aug won the regular season matchup, did that game on radio. We'll do this one again. And look, it's a battle of wills there. Can St. Aug slow down or stop the Rummel run game? If it can, it'll win again. And if it can't, Purple Knights will be in trouble. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic in that game. Vashon Coulon could be the separator. He's been that good. Tremendous high school quarterback. Alexandria Catholic, good matchup. Another game we've seen before. Catholics at Memorial, they're hard to beat there, folks. And John Curtis Christian at Joey's Catholic saw this game in this round last year. Curtis went there and won 31-10. Of course, you got a great quarterback at Joey's Catholic. Munoz's done a great job. His numbers are off the charts. John Curtis is John Curtis. They've been there, done that before. So I like their chances. I think they've got a good shot. And the Trillium's offensive line is banged up.
We'll see how that plays out. Okay, Division II Select. This is the one bracket where you've got 1 through 8 that have advanced to the quarterfinals, where the chalk is held. But yet, as I take a look at this at first glance, Ken, I don't think it's out of the question that any one, if not all of these road teams have a great chance this weekend.
Yeah, I think its styles make the game, right? Edie White is a tough offense to face. You don't see it very much. So well coached. They've won 8 in a row. St. Charles Catholics, the chalk, they've been the best team in the class all year long. They don't have anything they do great. They just do everything well, and they're so well coached. And it's hard to win there in Laplace, real hard at Frank Monica Field. Madison Prep U-High rematch. I mean, this is a head knocker. I mean, a regular season game was like, 12-8? And it's at U-High on the LSU campus. Madison Prep may be the biggest offensive line in the state. This could go either way. Vanderbilt Catholic, Lake Charles College Prep. Vanderbilt's a very good road team. Only lost to Edie White. Lake Charles College Prep, a lot of skill. That's an even matchup. Archbishop Shaw, not as good offensively this year, but they're good on defense. Good running back, DeAndre Franklin. Of course, Loyola Prep with Bryce Restovich has been off the charts. 48 touchdowns total. He's been remarkable. They got to travel to Shreveport. The difference here, I don't know. I mean, Loyola's at home. They'll be the favorite, but Shaw's been been there before, and they're the defending champs, so that's an interesting game.
Yeah, they're the defending champs as a 7th seed, and as you move to Division III select, the highest remaining seed on the board is a 9 seed, Catholic of New Iberia. They're the defending champion, but they've got a very tough task heading across over to Lafayette Parish to take on Lafayette Christian.
I wouldn't be thrilled if I was Lafayette Christian having to draw this team in the quarterfinals as a defending champion that's playing very well. But LCA's at home. It's hard to pick against the Knights as good as they've been, as tough a schedule as they've played. Terrific quarterback and receiver. Donovan Newman, again, quarterback matchup. Tulane commit on one side and Jake Randall. And, of course, Elijah Haven, a 5-star guy on the other side. Tough one for Newman against the physicality and size of Dunham with that quarterback. Calvary Baptist to Jules Sumner. That's a great matchup. Jules Sumner, as I've said all year long, quiet team that's just done it in great fashion, efficient as can be, execute very well. Calvary Baptist, not great like they've been, but they're very good and they've been there before. So they're the ones with experience. This is at Jules Sumner, though, over in Kentwood would be an interesting matchup. And then Lafayette Renaissance, an emerging program at Notre Dame. Hard to pick against Louis Cook at this stage. And I know a lot of people would like to see Louis get one more shot at the title. Game's in Crowley, so maybe a slight edge to the Bios.
And finally, Division IV select, and you've got 7 of the top 8 seeds here. The only one that broke through was the 9 seed St. Edmund on the road last week. Now they've got to go draw the top seed Westminster Christian in Opelousas. But I like the matchup at the bottom of the bracket there. You know, we talked about OCS a week ago, and they just handled Southern Lab. Now they've got to go on the road to reserve to face Riverside Academy.
Yeah, you certainly have to like Westminster Christian. Opelousas at home. Ascension Catholic, I like them on the road against Catholic Point Capee. Ascension Episcopal, Hamilton Christian. Again, Ascension Episcopal is good. Hamilton Christian won last week despite all the distractions. They're at home again, but you mentioned it, the matchup that could be a dome game, frankly. Washita Christian and Riverside. Class programs, class coaches, just a tremendous matchup. And you look at the numbers between the two teams. Riverside can run the heck out of it with Obigwe, and Boogie Johnson's really good. On the other hand, Washita Christian can run it and throw it. It's a great matchup. I mean, if there's anything that you flip a coin about, the game's in reserve. Not an easy place to play. You've been there. So we'll see. But yeah, what a great matchup. As good as any that we have in Louisiana this week.
Looking forward to following them all Saturday or Friday, I should say, and you can do the same right at CrescentCitySports.com with our scoreboard updated all night long, presented by the All-State Sugar Bowl. No better place to keep up with all your high school coverage than right here at Crescent City Sports.
All right, you saw there what the scoreboard looks like. You want to view it, just click on that QR code right there, and you can get right to it. In the meantime, Wade and I are going to catch you up on what is going on around the state. Of course, here at halftime, it's Edna Karr 29, Evangel Christian 6. The winner of this would play the winner of the quarterfinal game going on in Baton Rouge between Alexandria and Catholic High. Catholic with a 10-6 lead over Ash third quarter. Third quarter at Tad Gormley, St. Augustine leading Rummel 28-10. And in Lafayette, they have moved to the fourth quarter now. JT Curtis must have the clocks moving over there, trying to make it back for Friday Night Football or some of it, I guess. 14-0. Curtis doing a great job of defense tonight against Turlings Catholic. In Division I non-select, this has a chance to be the upset of the night here. Southside and Ruston, 28-all third quarter in a 1-8 game. Not a lot of people going to Ruston and win, Wade. Southside had the lead. So
and I hear Southside not only is really good offensively, but I hear they do a great job defensively. So it's interesting that they're able to go up to Ruston and be able to do what they're doing right now.
Yeah, second quarter is the last we had from Central leading Zachary 21-14. Third quarter up in Shreveport, Washita Parish, the 14 seed leading Parkway 21-16.
That's
another
one.
If they can hold on, they finally get to stay at home after going south and then west, because Neville is leading Barb, which presumably now has a running clock. Third quarter, 42-0. So it appears that the Buccaneers' Cinderella run after 2 upset wins in the first 2 weeks would be over. Third quarter in LaPlace. This has obviously been a good one. St. Charles Catholic 10, E.D. White nothing. Winner of that one, winner of that one would play the winner of the game between Madison Prep and U-High. U-High leading it at half 22-16. Last we have is a first quarter score out of Lake Charles between Vanderbilt Catholic and Lake Charles College Prep, tied at 14. Halftime, I'm not surprised at this at all. Shaw the 7 rolling over Loyola Prep 28-0.
Hitting
You know,
stride,
you know what they,
hitting
you know what,
their stride.
Well, you know what they say. You're the champs until you're knocked out,
Knocked
right?
out. And look, if there's one thing that Hank Tierney and his staff know, they know how to get their kids prepared for playoff games, right? And they've sputtered a little bit this year. They've had little offensive woes, but now they're clicking.
Yeah, let's update that one now. 31-0 Eagles in the third quarter. Last we had was second quarter from up in Northwest Louisiana. North DeSoto leading Franklinton 29-23.
Wow.
Third quarter, Plaquemine leading Cecilia 26-6. Cecilia, of course, the defending champ. Plaquemine got beat at home by Cecilia in the semis a year ago, so a little revenge situation there. Bell Chase over West Feliciana, third quarter, 33-0. Last we had second quarter from over in Southwest Louisiana, Lutcher leading Iowa 21-20. Third quarter, Lafayette Christian leading Catholic and New Iberia, another defending champion there in Catholic, 35-14. Third quarter, Dunham leads Newman 34-16. They've moved to the fourth quarter up in Tangipahoa Parish, where Calvary Baptist leads Jules Sumner 14-7. That was a pretty salty matchup for a quarterfinal game. And how about Lafayette Renaissance leading Notre Dame 13-7? That is in Crowley, third quarter.
Wow.
Gina leads Mansfield third quarter 22-14. Union Parish over Kinder 14-6 third quarter. Union Parish was the one road team that won last week in this bracket. St. James over Oak Grove at the half 43-13.
Oh my.
Watch out for St. James. Now, here's the matchup. St. James, this is like apparently destined here. Ken Trahan and I talked about this for the last 3 weeks. Sterlington leading Laurelville 27-6 third quarter. You looked at the bottom part of that bracket, Division III non-select, and you immediately, gravitated towards a possible St. James Sterlington semifinal, which would be a rematch from the Dome a year ago.
Correct.
It was a terrific game. Third quarter, Westminster Christian leading St. Edmund 42-16. At halftime, Catholic Point Coupee over Ascension Catholic 36-28. Also at the half, Ascension Episcopal on the road leading Hamilton Christian 35-0. Third quarter, Riverside leading OCS 31-14. That would be a huge win for Lee Roussel and set him up to host a semifinal game next week.
That's a young football team.
Yep. Got a chance to see them in week one. Second quarter, Haynesville over Jonesboro Hodge 35-0. Third quarter, Jeanerette over Logansport 14-0. These are Division IV non-select scores. Third quarter, South Platte leads North Iberville 27-12. And third quarter, Mangum over East Feliciana 28-16. So that wraps up all of the scores. Of course, stay up to date. You click on that, just, keep clicking the button, keep refreshing as you watch our second half here, and keep up to date with everything that is going on in the world of Louisiana high school football. 32 games going on as we speak. There will be 32 winners meeting in 16 semifinal games come next week. All right, so as we get set for the start of the second half here, Wade, take us into locker rooms here. Bryce Brown, Denny Duron, what do they have to say to their teams at the break?
I think Denny Duron needs to talk to his team and get them to understand that they're capable of playing with these guys. He's at the stage now where, except for the kickoff return, they've struggled in all aspects of this game, right? So he was doing a psych job on them to get them to understand that, hey, we can play with these guys. Let's get out here and do the things that we're capable of doing and get our swagger back, correct? I mean, Karr, Bryce Brown, I'm sure he walked over there and he found a couple of things wrong, but the biggest thing he told his guys was, hey, keep laying the wood here, right? I mean, let's don't put ourselves in bad mistakes. Don't make errors that's going to put us in bad mistakes. Continue doing what we're doing, and I think they would have probably also made a couple of adjustments against all these spread formations we're getting from Evangel, making sure they're sound, right? So that way Evangel doesn't get a cheap one on them because they out-formation them. Right. So I think that's what was going on in both of those locker rooms. The tall order for Denny Duron, he's just trying to get his swagger back with his kids. And that's going to be a tall order.
We mentioned some of the commonalities between Evangel and Karr, and
Right.
Maybe you wouldn't recognize it, right away again, because you're talking about schools that are 5 hours apart, and you're talking about one that's charter and one is private. But the success that they've had on the football field is very similar. As we take a look, since 2000, if you look at the list of state championships won by by teams in Louisiana, you're talking two of the top three that are right up there, in that category. In terms of what they've done. You see Curtis, you see, Evangel is second. Karr is in that tie at 6 with Acadiana, the team we saw last week. Lutcher, OCS, who's over in reserve tonight. Parkview Baptist and St. Thomas More right there in that mix. But the other thing, both of these schools became high schools, late 80s, early 90s. They both won their first state championship in 1993. So much of their success, it's not long-standing like some of these, some of these great programs. I mean, Lutcher, their case, it goes back to, the 70s. Frank Monaco, Lou Sanama and Frank Monaco were the head coaches back then. So, and obviously John Curtis goes back to this. This is the 50th anniversary of their first state championship, and wouldn't they love a chance to be able to get back to the Dome if they can find a way to close things out. And by the way, let's update fourth quarter. They've extended their lead now, 21-0 Patriots in the fourth quarter. Rummel St. Aug has now reached the fourth quarter with the Purple Knights leading that one 28-10. So it seems like we're going to have a 9-5A rematch from Week 10 in a semifinal next week. Meanwhile, Catholic has taken a 16-6 lead over Alexandria. The winner of that game will play the winner of this game as we get set for the third quarter to begin. Again, Evangel won the toss, took the football, so Karr is going to receive the second half kickoff. And, Cougars, again, with 9 men up between the 40 and 50-yard line. I think we've seen this now at least twice this year where teams have tried to, steal a possession at the start of the third quarter.
We'll know real quick if Denny Duron was able to get his team swagger back right here in this series with his defense, right? So if they can get a 3 and out, that would do monstrous things for their egos, right? And I'm sure that was pointed out to the Evangel defense as they were in their defensive meetings in their locker room. Got to have a 3 and out here.
Well, they do try the onside kick, even though they fake the muddle huddle and spread out. Took a chance to see if they can maybe get a bounce. And Karr recovers at the 49-yard line, and I believe that was Joshua Ford, 88 on the recovery there.
Yeah, they just couldn't get the bounce on the ball. It just kind of skidded on the surface and never popped. You're trying to get that pop up into the air to try to get one of the guys on your side to run underneath and catch it, but it never got off the ground. So here we go, Karr taking over at midfield again, right?
John Johnson, definitely not his best half of football in the first half. Pass caught, and it's taken away. The Evangel defender just ripped it out of the hands of the Karr receiver, and they got a chance to take it the other way. Run out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. That was Seth Collins, who just ripped it out of the hands of Xavier Owens before he could go down to the ground. Let's take another look at this, Wade.
Yeah, I mean, the ball's on target, right? Great throw by John Johnson. And then right there, bang, it just gets taken out of Owens' hands.
I don't know if he juggled it a little bit or
it looked
what.
like he didn't have complete grasp of it, but it gets and ends up, should I say, into Seth Collins' hands. He's one of those sophomores that is back there in that Evangel secondary, young secondary. And as I said, swagger. Looks like they've got their swagger back. They needed a 3 and out. Better yet, they got the turnover.
Yeah, 3 and outs even. I mean, turnovers even better than 3 and out because now you got the goal on the Karr side of the 50. Now working quickly. Pass is caught down the far sidelines. 20, 15, 10. Still on his feet. 5. Finally is going to get pushed out of bounds right at about the 4-yard line, it looks like. And a big play, maybe the best offensive play we've seen tonight for Evangel from Pop Houston to Johnny Casey. A gain of 33 on first down.
Well, missed tackle, a lot of cushion, equals a nice pickup for Johnny Casey, right? Ball's out on time, not a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
Now Houston will roll, trying to stay on his feet, and gets down near the goal line. That is Kevin Martin on the stop at about the 2-yard line. We'll see exactly where they spot it. They're going to put it maybe inside the 2 just a bit.
Yeah, Pop Houston makes a lot happen, right? I mean, he goes one way, he goes the other way. He's like a water bug in a pond. You just can't catch him. And he gets the ball down to the 2-yard line, and here they are. They're looking at a great opportunity here.
We'll go empty. Houston was trying to stay on his feet, stay alive. Did he get in? I think he's short at the 1-yard line. So it's 3rd and goal coming up, and it's a big situation coming up right here.
And he got down there right to the goal line, and he said hello to number 10, Kevin Martin, who laid a lick on him right at the goal line and took him backwards.
Catholic extending it out now over Alexandria. 23-6 third quarter, the Bears leading the Trojans.
Oh, look at this, underneath center.
But how about, when you take everything out of the shotgun and all of a sudden you're going under center. You gotta make sure you get the snap right, and he did bobble it and had to just hold on. And he is brought down in the backfield.
You don't want me to get on my my pedestal about this and start preaching, right? I mean, you know how I feel about this. I
Just
mean,
didn't handle a snap.
Yeah, you can't handle it. But why? I mean, let's face it.
Yeah, because
you're taking 99% of every snap probably in practice in a gun also. How many times are you going under in a pressure situation with a guy like Richard Anderson lying right up across from you, and you got to take a snap? Chances are things aren't going to go too good when you're under center.
I think Evangel makers, the play clock is run under 10, and indeed they will, with 9:18 to play in the third quarter, and a critical 4th down coming up inside the 5-yard line for the Eagles. A chance to remind you that tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by Game On Social Hub at 2421 Veterans in Kenner, with a full-service restaurant, arcade games, bowling, axe throwing, and laser tag. Game On has it all. They're open till midnight tonight, and on Monday nights at 6, join Ken Trahan with special guests for the Saints Hall of Fame show on 106.7 The Ticket, live from Game On Social Hub.
You know,
who knows? Maybe they'll be talking about who the new LSU football coach is by Monday night. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh Lord! I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, I'm kind of over it, right? I mean, so much drama. But anyway, let's get back to what I was fixing to say. They got a 220-pound back in Damari Drake, who was rushed for 993 yards this year. I'm putting the ball in Six's hands and see if I can get me a yard, right?
Hadn't gotten a lot of touch. Now, he's not in there right now, and they've got lined up. They've got Broderick Lofton lined up as a running back in front of Houston. Houston trying to stay alive. Now he's going to run. Did he get in? I believe he did. Touchdown. Pop Houston runs it in on 4th and goal in a must situation for Evangel to stay in this football game, and he delivers. It's now 29-12.
Well, everybody's covered again. Great job by that secondary for the Karr Cougars. Nothing open. Pop Houston does what he does. He pulls that ball down, find a spot he has to get to, and he gets there for 6 points. This helps you get your mojo back.
They're going to go for 2 right here, I believe. I'm not sure, unless you've got a solid 2-point play, I'm not sure I agree with this decision, because if you fail, now it's a 3-score game. If you get it, it's a 15-point game, and it's back to 2 scores. But if you try the extra point and you can make it, it's 29-13. Houston pass is incomplete, broken up by Maurice Williams.
Wow. Great job, Maurice Williams, driving the foot. I believe he is a Colorado commitment.
Right.
Watch him drive the ball in man coverage right here. Gets there right at the time the ball gets there, gets a hand in between the ball and the defender and knocks it down. Great coverage by that future Buffalo.
So now a 29-12 game with 9:10 to play, quarter number 3. Here from Algiers. Looking more and more like the winner of this one is taking on Catholic High next week.
No stranger to the playoff bracket, no stranger to the semifinals, right? I mean,
Right.
they've been there before. They've done that before, right? So, you know, that's good football. Either one of these teams here tonight that prevails, if they would see Catholic High.
All right, your onside kick, you didn't get it last time. Do you do it again?
I just don't. I kick
don't know-
it deep, but I just don't put it in three's hands.
Well, I don't know how many kicks they have in their
Right. Repertoire.
Now they're going to. I'm pretty sure the ball gets away. Let's see who came up with it. I think Carr still got it. Evangel thinks they've got it.
Wow.
It's loose at the 38-yard line. There was no flag. I thought somebody was offside on that when they tried to do it, but Carr gets the ball. If we can get another look at it here.
If anything, this is entertainment, right? I mean, this is
Watch and see.
Whoa! No, that was close.
I thought somebody on the opposite side of the kicker might have been offside. They went with a different onside kick, just tried to kick it hard up the middle.
And Jermichael Quinn comes up with the ball right there on the onside kick. That's exciting, right? I mean, look, Evangel is playing loose. They've got some mojo. Why not go ahead and do that? I guess that's the way they're looking at it. And Jermichael Quinn comes up with a huge onside recovery.
All right, so Carr from the 38. Fake the jet sweep. Johnson looked like he was going to scramble. Now he is going to run and going to step out of bounds after a gain of 2. Let's see, they might give him the 41, or they're going to say the 40-yard line, a gain of 2 for John Johnson on first down.
Nothing open. What does he do?
Well,
Pulls it down and takes off.
Both of these
Right.
secondaries have done a terrific
Great
job
job
this
tonight.
evening. Yeah.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was fixing to say that.
Garrison, left side. Look, we talk about John Johnson, we talk about the receiving core, and we talk about Richard Anderson, we talk about Aiden Hall, but I don't think you can undervalue what Trey Garrison means to this team.
Well, and what Trey Garrison means to this team is also what this offensive line does for Trey Garrison and for John Johnson. These guys are seasoned. They're great football players with a couple of guys that were going to have great college careers in front of them, Noel and Wesley, the two tackles.
Yeah, Wesley's only a junior.
Right,
He'll be back next year.
He's going to have a
There's
great career.
There's a lot of seniors. That ball that was an incomplete pass, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was incomplete. A forward pass intended for Wilfred, and it'll be 4th and 2, and it's decision time right here. And I think this is the right call, as Bryce Brown's going to send on the punting unit right there.
Had he caught that, he'd have been down.
It would have been worse. Yeah,
Right.
Now it's 4th and 2, and maybe you get him to jump, you get a first down. He caught it. He went down on a knee to try to make the catch. It would have been a loss of 4 on the play.
Correct.
Had he caught the football.
Correct.
So the punt is away. It will go down at the 22-yard line. Evangel had a couple of men deep, one short, one long.
Karr
And-
needed to let that roll a little bit. It was
Well,
it was
there was
swiped up real
still there was
fast.
there
Yeah.
was also still a return man behind where the ball was down. So if it bounced, it might bounce right to it, and all of a sudden you got people out of position trying to down the football instead of making a tackle. So Evangel will take over at the 23-yard line. You see it, 8:04 to play in the third quarter. Evangel has the only points of the second half on a Pop Houston touchdown run on 4th and goal. After, I guess, what you would call an interception there. I think that was first play of the second half. Houston, incomplete. Really, nobody out this way. And
Well, he's trying to get it-
really
yeah.
the only receiver that was in the general vicinity was Jaden Hicks.
Right, and he was in, the ball was out, right? So, again, you can see Pop Houston just trying to get rid of the ball in the general direction because of the pressure applied by that Carr defensive line.
So 2nd down and 10, the ball at the 23-yard line. Houston's pass is incomplete, blown up by Hayward Howard as he tried to hit Casey with the pass, and Howard just delivered the blow and separated receiver from ball. It's 3rd down. Another look.
Casey wide open over here. Ball's nicely delivered, but look at the closing speed by Howard, right? I mean, he closes in on that and then just delivers, as you said, turns the lights out on Casey. Wow.
So on 3rd and 10, line to make here is the 33. Trying to take a shot. Got a man, but he overthrew him. As the intended receiver, DeMarcus Evans, had a step, but that pass was off target, and now it's going to be 4th down.
Again, Evans trying to get vertical out there against man coverage. You can see right here to the right of your screen that he will have a step right there. Safety getting off the hash to get on top. Nicely done by the safety getting there, but the ball was just uncatchable. Safety did a nice job getting off the hash. I believe that was Maurice Williams coming off of the wide side of the field hash to try to get across the top of the vertical, as he should. Ball was just inaccurate.
Now, the 3 incomplete passes took a grand total of 17 seconds. Now the punt. This is Wilford at the 48-yard line, turning it upfield. Carr's going to have great field position on the Evangel side of the 50 after that exchange of punts.
All night long, Karr has had great field position, right? I mean, again, another byproduct of not being able to run the football. You can't do anything with field position. Looks like a flag.
Yeah, we got 2 flags down. Not anywhere around where the return was going on. Let's see. It's a personal foul against Carr. So instead of that great field position, it's a little bit less favorable. It's at the 45-yard line instead of the Evangel 40. I think if you saw maybe some extracurriculars going on in our replay there, away from the play.
Well,
So
they'll get you every time,
no
right?
doubt, no doubt.
So,
All right, Carr takes over here at the 45-yard line with 7:37 to play in the 3rd quarter. Garrison has room to run, still on his feet, and stays on his feet, spins out of a tackle, and he may go. 55 yards for Trey Garrison, touchdown Edna Karr. Well, just got that penalty, just got Trey Garrison 15 more in terms of rushing yards, and he's well over 100 for the night now.
Watch the jump cut in the backfield, missed tackle 1.
He's going to split these guys right here. Yep.
The corner and the safety. Terrible tackling by Evangel right there. He just runs through the arm tackle. That's how strong this guy is.
Yeah,
there you go.
Jaden Hicks tried to bring him down.
Right.
You're not just an arm tackle, and he spun right out of it.
Yeah, you're not bringing him down with an arm tackle. It's like I said, he runs a lot bigger than 190 pounds.
So to make it 36-12, Castillon knocks it through. And with 7:24 to play, your new score, Edna Karr 36, Evangel 12.
Well, that takes a lot of air out of their balloon, right? I mean, you when people get their mojo back or get their forward movement back, like how do you stuff that? Well, you give the ball to Trey Garrison, right? And you let him do what he just did. Let him do his thing, and that's going to take a lot of air out of your balloon.
All right, we have our first final of the night in Division I Select. John Curtis defeats Turlings 21-7. It is 9:05, Richie Mills. If you're watching this evening, I'm sure you're like wondering if and when JT is going to make it back for part of Friday Night Football this evening. Ruston has rallied. They now lead Southside 38-28 fourth quarter. That Ruston is the top seed in Division I non-select. Zachary and Central 21-all third quarter. Ouachita Parish still leading Parkway 21-16 third quarter. They move to the fourth in Monroe. Neville leading Barb 42-0. St. Charles Catholic has now stretched it out over E.D. White 24-0 Comets in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
Line drive kick takes several hops, still rolling around, finally picked up, and the return man, Bennett Spear, slipped and fell at the 15-yard line. So this is going to be not so great field position for Evangel, but we've heard that one before several times in the first half.
Cold night, artificial turf. We were down there on the field prior to the game. It needs to be kind of not redone, but rejuvenated, should we say, right?
Right.
It's going to lead to some slippage, and that's exactly what happened to Spear right there.
Exactly. On first down, Houston, pass caught. Out to about the 20-yard line, a gain of 6. That was Casey, I believe, on the catch. No, check that. That's 5, not 3. Abraham on the catch.
Abraham gets a catch right there. A lot of room right there by Karr. They're now playing with the secondary, giving a little bit more cushion, just making sure they keep everything in front of them and they don't get beat deep.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to get beat over the top in a 24-point game. And the receiver went down. Casey made the catch. I think he's short of the first down. He is. It's a gain of 3. It's going to be 3rd down and 1 at the 23.
And you can see the separation. You can see how fast now Houston is getting rid of the football, right? It's in and out of his hands, where we did not see this with the tight coverage in the first half from the Karr secondary.
I'm sure there's a lot of teams that Evangel played this year that you thought you could, extend some plays and get some, get some separation with your receivers. With this Karr secondary and this Karr pass rush, that's not going to be the case.
It isn't, exactly.
So 3rd and 1, Houston faces pressure. He's going down for the first time tonight. Coming on the blitz, that was Kylon Jones, I believe, number 6.
Yes. Kylon Jones, 6'1", 225, coming in on blitz off the edge. Nobody touches him. Watch him right here. He comes from depth, gets home. Houston looking to throw the ball quick. Everything's covered again. How many times have I said that tonight, right? I mean, just that seems to be the theme tonight facing Houston. Just can't get rid of the ball and the pressure gets to him.
So Evangel will have to punt it away out of their own end zone. It's going to be great field position once again for the Cougars. Wilford from the 39 trying to get the far side. Down the sideline, is he going to be caught? I got him out of bounds, but it's going to be goal to go for the Cougars. Let's see where they spot the football. Looks like they're going to put it at the... Still waiting for the sticks to go down. Looks like the 5-yard line.
You cannot punt the ball to this guy straight to him, right? If he's going to get the ball in his hands, you're going to have to make him run over to get the ball. You got to directionally punt away from him.
So goal to go once again for Karr. 5-yard line. They'll run an end around. And this is Wilford again trying to get in. But he didn't get in on the punt return, but he's going to be pulled back. Seth Collins, who got the interception earlier.
Well, if you're not going to get on the punt return,
out there,
let's hand it off to you on the end around and give you an opportunity. And he just couldn't outrun the pursuit that time from Evangel coming from the opposite side of the field.
So 2nd and goal, ball at the 3-yard line. This time it's Garrison, and they're not going to get him to the ground. Touchdown, Cougars.
I think it's safe to say he is having a great night,
Yes,
right?
he is,
I mean,
yes.
this guy. Wow.
And a 55-yard run a couple of minutes ago. This one from 3 yards out, and the Cougars add to their lead. It is 42-12 with the PAT coming.
Well, again, special teams set up the touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Another theme tonight that we have seen, except for the one missed PAT, we have seen some great special teams from the Karr Cougars.
Yep. You saw got set up with the low snap on the punt. You had off the safety, the free kick return for a touchdown as Castillon knocks it through. It is 43-12 Karr with 4:17 to play in the third quarter.
Well, they're hitting on all cylinders.
No doubt.
And the deal about it is when you're hitting like this and you're on a hot streak like this, you know, it's hard to get somebody to beat you, right? I mean, you got to have a formula. You got to be able to match athletically, and then you got to have a lot of things go right for you, and it just hasn't happened tonight for Evangel.
So that momentum that they kind of garnered right here at the start of the third quarter, that is
Gone.
On its way back to Shreveport right
Yeah, it is. It's gone.
43-12 Karr. 4:17 remaining here in the third quarter. And it is looking more like a rematch of a great game that we had here a year ago in the playoffs between Karr and Catholic. As Catholic has stretched it out over Ash, it is now 44-6 Bears in the fourth quarter. Here's the kickoff. Fielded short. They're going to run the end around. They're coming back this way. And Day Drake ended up with the ball in his hand as they went with the end around there, but it is defended well by the Cougars, and that Evangel's going to take over at the 33-yard line.
Lane discipline. When you're in your coverages, you have to have lane discipline, because when they can reverse the ball like that, if you are not in the right place at the right time, they can obviously get onto your edge and they can outflank you. And it was a great job with the lane discipline by Carr's coverage team that time.
One first down. Houston's pass caught, but nothing after the catch.
I'm just amazed at the closing speed of these guys from Karr. Even though there's cushion, the ball's caught.
Now we got a flag after the play. As you get
this is
a bit of a wrestling match for the football that was going on there between Abraham and Aiden Hall.
Yeah, that's not good. And then it escalated a little bit, and we don't want to have that.
No one wanted to let go of the ball.
But getting back to what I was saying about this secondary from Karr, the amount of speed you see as they converge, to not allow a receiver have yard after yard after the catch, right? It's tremendous how fast these guys can cover and close. Now we got the walk-off 15-yard personal foul against Karr from the little scrap a second ago.
Evangel will play the 48-yard line. As we tick under 4 minutes to play here in the third. Try to get the edge. You're not going to run east and west on this Karr defense. As waiting right there was Cornell Williams along with Nigel Marshall.
Yeah, well, look at this. Wow. I mean, they just press the offensive line back into the lap of the running back, and for one of the few runs we've seen Evangel actually use tonight. Can't go east and west.
Second down, 15. They'll go back the other way. They'll get the lost yardage back. They'll play third. They'll call it 9 after the 6-yard catch by Abraham.
Charlie Abraham has had a great season.
Great season, yes. 78 catches, but he's been kind of quiet tonight.
Yeah,
They've really kind of taken him away.
Yeah, 1,039 yards, 8 TDs. He's been a solid receiver all year long. And he's a big guy, 6 foot, 194-pound wide receiver, and he's a senior.
Hands up, no defense. Get after, get after. Tag, come on, rotate, tag. Get him.
Houston lets it fly. Pass is broken up and nearly intercepted, as that was Torrance Sanders right there, and now a flag comes in late.
Harassing the quarterback again. That's number 20, Jules Batiste.
It's going to be interesting. I don't know if this
And
might
the
be
Carr
a
Carr defenders.
right.
I mean, I'm sorry, the not the Carr defender, but the Evangel receiver is still down on the far sideline.
This might be something other than interference.
It was a very late flag. I'm not sure if it was. Nope. Check that. There is no. Well, delay of game against Carr. Okay. They called delay of game against Carr, and it's 4th down. I don't know if that was. So they're going to deal with the. We've got a break here while they still tend to the player.
Let's
on
take a
the
look
far
at it
sideline. Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
It's a double move. Great coverage out there. I really don't see anything. Oh, I see what it is.
Threw the football.
Yeah, he takes the football and he throws it. Okay, I didn't know what that was on the initial play, but he had the football. He took it away right there. Great coverage on the double move. But then he takes the football and he throws it away, and that's going to create the delay of game penalty.
So now it's going to be.
He's lucky it's not unsportsmanlike.
Right. Well, that's just you throw the ball spot, whatever. Yeah, it could. Well, it wasn't a. Yeah, just, it's now going to be 4th and 4.
Yeah, that's not right. I mean, that's something you can't do. You just make a great play. You're in great coverage. You're in great phase with the receiver on a double move, and you knock the ball away. It comes into your hands, even though the play's blown dead. You just can't throw it away from the official. Turn around and toss it to the official.
So every game that Carr has played this year against a Louisiana school, 10 of them, they have scored at least 35 points. Sean Rummel held, air quotes right there, to 35. Jesuit only gave up 39 last week. Every other one has been 40 or more, and of course 43 on the board tonight. And keep in mind, there's still 2:06 to play in the third.
Yeah.
Houston's going to let one fly near sideline. Pass is no call yet. They're talking about it. Incomplete, out of bounds.
Great officiating
job. It was intended
job
for Evans. Good communication by the officials.
Let me tell you why that's a great officiating job. You have both guys, both sideline judges, coming to the point of the catch. They both want to check with each other to confer on what they saw.
Yeah, I think he did come down out of bounds.
He
went
did
up
come down
and he
out
came
of
down out
bounds.
of bounds.
Watch the two officials right here do a great job in communication. Bravo for those two guys.
And our officiating crew from South Louisiana, Thibodaux. Carr will take over on downs at the 46-yard line, leading this one 43-12. Garrison gets 9 on first down. What a night he is having.
You know, you talk about those 35-point scores, right? Who held them to 35? I think you said Jesuit was 39, if I'm not mistaken, right? You know, you think about that, you look at
Shaw
that.
35, Rummel 35,
Right,
Jesuit
right.
39. Everyone else in the state is.
And you know why? Those teams can run the football, right? They know, and they also understand time from the standpoint of what they have to do offensively to try to keep the guys that are so explosive and purple off the field.
Right.
But they still giving up 35 points, right? What does that speak for this great offensive Carr? You know, and I think if you would talk to Bryce Brown, he would tell you that. Like, they have a formula. Right, everybody's trying to come up with that perfect formula
and you're playing Carr every year too, so
right,
you
exactly.
get a chance.
You get a
you're
chance.
watching them
Correct.
constantly.
Correct.
You're,
Correct.
You know,
Correct. No doubt about
You're
it.
watching the other teams in the league. You're seeing what they're doing. I mean,
Yes.
it's a lot like what some of these people have done, having to face John Curtis and face the split back veer once a year.
Correct. So, from that standpoint, credit Karr, right? But you got to also credit those guys in the Catholic League for trying and tweaking all the time with how to come up with that perfect formula to be able to stop this great offense.
Don't know if Carr's got to snap it here. I don't believe they do. No, the quarter can run out. The play clock is about 1 second more than the game clock, so Karr is going to let it run all the way down to the end of the third quarter. We will have 12 minutes to go, and it's becoming apparent that Karr is going to win number 25 in a row here tonight. After 3, your score, Edna Karr, 43, and Evangel Christian, 12. The fourth quarter is next on Crescent City Sports.
Let's go. Let's pound it, baby. Run, Trey.
All right, so as we get set for quarter number 4, Lenny Van Gilder, Wade Kaiser, our Crescent City Sports production team, with you this evening from Algiers. It's looking more and more like it will be Edna Karr and Catholic High here next Friday night in one semifinal. We can tell you the other one is set. St. August defeated Rummel 35-10. They will face John Curtis. Johnson's pass caught. That's the big H-back tight end. And nice run there by Cameron Mumford to get the first down out to about the 30-yard line, a gain of 11.
Yeah, seldom used. He's used here on the bootleg. He's coming from the H-back on the opposite side. Everybody's running some form of this play now at all levels, right? The slip, the guy from the backside threw off of the boot, and Mumford's right there. Ball's delivered nicely and a nice pickup.
On the ground, that's going to be, once again, Wellington Cornyn on the carry out to near the 25-yard line, and Cornyn's hobbling back to the sideline. So now we're going to get a look at Jermon Macklin in here at running back.
Yeah, I feel bad for Cornyn. He gets a rep here tonight, and he's coming back, and he's
got
injured.
3 carries on this drive.
Yeah.
Now he's going to have to check out, and we get Macklin in the game, and Carr's depth shows off right here. Macklin, a junior, has an offer from Florida State, and we're seeing him in the game. Now he bounces it to the outside. Macklin out near the 15-yard line. It's going to be a first down.
Yeah, I mean, I had a chuckle when you said that because it's amazing, right?
It's the depth that they
right,
have.
The depth.
Carr has a slew of seniors in the starting lineup. You know what? They're going to be really good again next year. Okay?
You think?
Hold on to the ball, baby. First down and 10.
Nice penetration in the backfield that time, and that was we got stuff going on downfield there, but a 75 Christian Spate got into the backfield there and brought down, beat the offensive lineman, and dragged down the running back Macklin in the backfield for a loss. It's a loss of 5 on the play, and it'll be second down and 15 at the 22.
Loss of 6, second down and 6.
Johnson's pass batted. Nice drop in coverage there that time by Bennett Spear. He batted it up and nearly came up with it, and it's going to be third down.
Spear's a good football player. Young, sophomore. Again, we said that they have a bunch of sophomores starting on this Evangel defense, right? Look how he gets up in the air and knocks that thing down. The only thing he wanted the pick, right? That's what he wanted. But, hey, nice play, young fella, getting their hands up in the air and reading the eyes of the quarterback and knocking that thing down.
Let's go, offense. Let's go.
So 3rd and 15, which you would imagine is 4-down territory right here. I can't see. Even though Castellon's a good kicker, Karr is not going to be looking to kick a field goal up 43-12. Johnson is going to be brought down, and once again, that is big number 75, Christian Spade, who does it.
Yeah, they almost didn't get that off. They just on the last tick of the clock, they got it off. Spate beats the right guard, Michael Williams, and just overpowers him and gets home. Right now, look, we've called Spate's name a few times now. He's a good football player, right? He runs well for a big dude, 6'3", 310 pounds.
Came in with 44 tackles on the year. He's picked up a few more this evening. So 4th down and 20. Got to get it to the 7-yard line to keep this drive alive. Johnson, that little half roll. Now he's going to put it down and go. Can't get to the outside, though, and he's brought down at the 22-yard line as he is chased down from behind. I believe that was Day-Day Drake on that one. We've talked about him on offense, but he also plays linebacker on this team and is one of the leading tacklers. I mean, not a lot of guys, like you mentioned earlier, 1,000 yards and 100 tackles. There's a lot of guys that play two ways in high school, but don't have those kind of numbers on both sides.
Look, those are bragging stats for when he's got his grandchildren sitting on his knee in a bunch of years from now. I said a bunch of years from now, right?
Yeah. He's headed to Grambling, and they think he's a linebacker.
Well, I think he's a linebacker too. I mean, he just proved it. You know, he can tackle number one John Johnson in open field like that. He can make some plays.
No doubt. Quick pass in the flat is incomplete.
That was kind of three-quarter slung out there by Pop Houston. He just kind of ripped it off to the other side of his body. Watch, you can see, right there, and it just kind of floats away from him.
So as we start to wind down here, we will catch you up on some of the other scores. Houston's going to put it down, try to run. Not much doing. Didn't get back to the line of scrimmage.
Nigel Marshall.
Yeah, number 90 from this Carr defense. These guys, they got some big guys. Not only big guys, but big guys who can run.
And they got some.
And look, you look at Anderson right there in the middle of your screen.
He's bigger than Nigel.
He's number 7. I mean, that's right. Just like he's got so much space on either side of that. Those narrow number fonts, and he's wearing a single-digit number at 6'3" and 340 pounds.
Probably takes about 4 guys to help him get in and out of his jersey, right? I mean,
pass is intercepted, and this could be 6. Aiden Hall, I believe. Yes, 0. You see the 0 and a 9 kind of look alike there. Aiden Hall takes that one back for the score.
Watch him jump the pass right here. Reads the quarterback's eyes, just sitting back in zone right there. He sees the curl route right in front of him. He's looking right through the receiver, back to Pop Houston, reading his eyes. Pop Houston's drained in with his eyes on the receiver. That's a pick any way you look at it. Every day of the week for Aiden Hall. He's going to drive that and pick that off.
All right, for a chance to make it an even 50 burger. Yeah. Kick is on the way, and I believe it was partially blocked. No good, so it's going to stay at 49. 49-12 with 8:19 to play here in this one. Let's first of all remind you that tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by Lamar Crescent City Ford, the commercial vehicle center at 6121 Jefferson Highway in Harahan. Lamar Crescent City Ford. We got a truck for that. So let's take a look around at some of these other scores now. As everything else has now gone final in Division I Select. Catholic has wrapped it up 44-6 over Ash. St. Aug has gone final 35-10 over Rummel. Curtis defeats Turlings 21-7. Division I Select, we've got 3 finals. Ruston beats Southside 38-28, so they will be home next week against the winner of Zachary and Central. Central currently leading 27-24. That's in the fourth quarter. Ouachita Parish goes on the road, beats Parkway 28-22. So the 14 seed will travel to the 2 in a 2-5A matchup next week. Ouachita Parish against Neville, who beat Barb 42-0. St. Charles Catholic closes out the shutout over E.D. White 31-0 Comets.
Wow.
They're going to play University Lab next week in a rematch of a game that you and I saw 2 years ago, one of the best games that we have ever seen in the playoffs, as the kickoff is returned out to about the 32-yard line.
Yeah, I remember that University St. Charles playoff game. Overtime, if I'm not mistaken.
Overtime, 10-7.
Yeah. Okay.
And the kicker is still around, by the way.
There you go. But look, Edie White has a really good football team, really great football program, right?
And for St. Charles
to do that.
Yeah, to handle them 31-0, that's a big surprise.
Yeah, they're rolling. They're clicking. They're
no doubt.
on all cylinders. And it took them a year to adjust to get to Division II, right? And Wayne Stein, by playing an extremely tough schedule, has gotten them ready in 2 years to be able to compete at this division.
Oh, a pass is caught, and this could go the distance. Johnny Casey, the catch and run. It'll go 70 yards for a touchdown.
Great throw.
Yep.
Great throw on a dime.
Yep.
On a dime. Hit him in stride.
Yep.
Look at the vertical route right here. Safety doesn't get over. Is a little slow getting there. That's what they're
tried to get there. Yeah, Sanders.
That's what they're used to seeing all year.
Sanders was on him one-on-one, released him, and then tried to get over the top.
Safety just didn't get off the hash quick enough. That was Howard. And look, Pop Houston put that on a dime. Great throw. They're going to go for 2.
To try to make it 49-20. Whistles before the snap. That's an illegal substitution against Karr. They had 12 in the formation.
Well, you can't play with 12.
No. All right. So let's look. Let's continue to run down here. Division II select. We mentioned the top of the bracket is St. Charles and U High. The bottom, Shaw is going to travel to the winner of the Vanderbilt Catholic Lake Charles College prep game. That's 28-20 Vanderbilt in the fourth. Last we heard, Shaw defeated Loyola Prep 38-7. So that would be a happy drive back from Shreveport to the West Bank. Third quarter, North DeSoto leads Franklinton 44-37. What a wild game that has been tonight in Division II non-select. Houston's pass is caught for the 2, and that is Broderick Lofton on the catch. The little guy at 5'3" brings that one in. So now it is a 49-20 game with 8:02 to play.
Yeah, they lined Broderick Lofton up at running back and slipped him out of the backfield and caught Karr in man coverage. Nobody ran with the back out of the backfield, and he was wide open. He had to pick that ball up off of his shoestrings. It wasn't a very good throw.
Yeah. So it looks like Plaquemine is going to dethrone Cecilia and get a little revenge on last year, 47-21. Bell Chase, the last we had 39-0 over West Feliciana third quarter. Still waiting update on Lutcher and Iowa. Third quarter, Lafayette Christian leads Catholic of New Iberia 49-14. They've gone final uptown. Dunham beats Newman 48-22. So that could be Dunham and LCA next week for a trip to the Dome. That could be a very intriguing matchup, and that, of course, would be in Lafayette. Calvary Baptist defeats Jules Sumner, ends their magical season 14-7. Notre Dame rallies to defeat Lafayette Renaissance 27-19. So it will be Notre Dame and Calvary in another semifinal next week. That should be a dandy as well.
Yes.
Division III non-select, Gina beats Mansfield 44-20. Union Parish on the road beats Kinder 20-14. St. James rolls over Oak Grove 57-13. Sterlington over Lauraville 44-6. Stage is now set. St. James against Lauraville. As you see the onside kick attempt. This one goes out of bounds, and Karr will take over with the football.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, you might as well go ahead and push it. Yeah, press the issue, and that's what Evangel's trying to do.
Right.
You can't worry about field position and all of that. You can see how they they show it once, back out, and then they go ahead and kick it again, and it's just
And
why.
I think that ball was even touched before it went 10 yards anyway. I don't know if, in fact, they're going to put it. That's exactly what they're going to call. They're going to call the illegal. They may call the illegal touch. They're going to call the illegal touch before it went 10 and put the ball at the 48-yard line.
Man, you got great eyes, buddy. All the way on the other side of the field. That was hard to see, even on our monitor.
All right, so in Division 4, Westminster Christian, the top seed on the select side, defeats St. Edmund 52-22. And we're going to see the backup quarterback for the Cougars, Forrest Johnson, taking over. Catholic Point Coupee leading Ascension Catholic 42-35 fourth quarter. A final from reserve, Riverside defeats Ouachita Christian 38-14. That's a terrific win for Lee Roussel's team. And then in Division 4 non-select, looks like at this point chalk is holding Haynesville with a big lead over Jonesboro Hodge, 48-6. So Forrest Johnson taking over, number 18. That is the quarterback. John Johnson's night is done.
As it should be. They need to get him off the field. You don't want anything to happen.
Right.
You got to start getting some of your kids on there to make sure that they're ready to go for the semifinals.
No doubt. Elsewhere tonight, Generette was leading Logansport 20-8 fourth quarter. The snap is fumbled. He will fall on it back at the 48-yard line. And it will be 3rd down and 10. The ball at the 48-yard line as we will tick under 7 minutes to play. Mangum, last we had, was leading east of Feliciana 28-16, and they've gone final down in Buras this evening. Got my geography right. South Platte defeats North Iberville 27-12. So the defending champs are back to the semifinals. Now, if that other score holds up, now they got to travel next week.
Right.
Which they did not have to do a year ago. They got to go all the way through down in Plaquemines Parish and then come to the Dome and then defeat Haynesville in the state championship game.
It's still a long ride from down there.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. Even
Right, lower
Plaquemine
Parish straight up Highway 23.
Yeah, more than an hour to get to make it to downtown. So
there you go. Yeah, absolutely. Now, if things hold true right here in the next 6:09, Karr will be facing Catholic.
Again. That was a great game a year ago. 21-19, I believe, last year. Probably the biggest threat that Karr had any time in the season a year ago.
If there's anybody that has a formula, that understands and can do the things they need to do in order to stick with this high-powered offense and move the ball on this outstanding Karr defense, could be the Bears from Baton Rouge.
No doubt.
So, I mean, the intrigue, just play a game, right? They're just trying to run some clock and get it all the way down. The intrigue for the semifinals is looking unbelievable, right? I mean, geez. University and St. Charles, oh, my.
Yeah. You got some St. Aug John Curtis.
St. Aug John Curtis.
Bobbled snap on the punt. Now they will get it away. And this will bounce once, fielded at the 10-yard line, and nice coverage by the Karr special teams to get him down inside the 15-yard line.
If I'm St. Aug, I would hate to have to play John Curtis again, especially in the semifinals. Wow.
Now, remember, they played Week 10, so they only played 3 weeks ago. It'll be 4 weeks ago now. And St. Aug fell behind early, but still hung 55 on John Curtis.
And that's been St. Aug's MO all year. Slow start, right? Just kind of, we saw them last week against Acadiana. Slow start, Acadiana jumps up on them, and then all of a sudden here they come. They're like a freight train that you can't stop for the rest of the game, right? So, but I mean, John Curtis knows how to fix things too, right? So it's the coaching is going to be fantastic this week between those two schools.
Houston will give it away on first down. The Jets sweep to Casey and nothing doing. This Evangel has simply not been able to get anything going. This was a team, remember, averaged 221 yards a game rushing.
Right, and
they might be very close to zero this evening.
Correct. Yeah, but I think they came in knowing they can't run the ball. Hence, we saw all the polecat and all the trickery and stuff that they brought in offensively, right? And it's just it's been the wrong mindset for them to run the ball.
And finally brought down is Abraham. It took about 3 or 4 guys in the neighborhood to finally get him to the ground after a gain of 9.
You got a lot of different numbers out there for the Karr Cougars now, getting a chance to get some of this playoff experience under their belt, right?
You look up front, you see Batista's still in there, but you've got Edward Daly up front, 48. You still got some other guys that are, but certainly some different guys. This is going to be caught. DeMarcus Evans on the catch for a gain of 20.
And then he took a shot, right?
Right, at the end of the play. Went up and brought it down. Yeah, paid the price.
Paid the price. I think that was Maurice Williams that lit him up, let him know he was there in his zone. A lot of soft zone right now by Karr, trying to keep everything in front of them and not trying to give up the cheap.
Houston scrambling, will let it fly, and that is going to be incomplete. It was a little bit short in the direction of Johnny Casey.
He's fun to watch, right? I mean, we've had to watch. They're explosive. They can make things happen athletically. They can ad-lib, right, with their game that they bring to the field. I mean, watch this. He's going to direct some traffic here. He says, work this way, and I'm going to lay the ball out where I can at least give you the opportunity to catch it to Johnny Casey.
With that Ruston win tonight, one way or the other, we're going to see a dome rematch. Zachary has taken a 31-27 lead over Central. And if Zachary wins, it's a rematch of the state championship game from 2 years ago. If Central wins, it's a rematch of the state championship from a year ago.
That's right.
The difference is not going to the dome, you're going to Lincoln Parish to have to play this one.
Right.
So the catch is made far side. That is by Hicks. And looks like a gain of 9 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 1 at the 49 coming up. Check a 3rd and 1 at the 49. As we tick under 3 minutes to play. On the ground, 1st down.
That might be the longest run of the evening.
There wasn't a scramble by the quarterback.
Correct. Yeah, that wasn't a scramble. Absolutely. Picked up 3 yards right there.
Yeah.
And I believe that was Day Drake.
He's had a busy night, as he does most Friday nights, playing on both sides of the football. Houston sails one out of bounds. So we came into this thinking, okay, we've got 2 really good quarterbacks here tonight. I think what both of these quarterbacks have seen tonight is they've gotten tested. You knew Houston was going to get tested by this Karr defense, and he's certainly done that, but he's also shown you signs of what makes him special as well. As this pass is caught, gain of about 3 to Evans.
What we've seen is these 2 quarterbacks face 2 really good secondaries, right? And you got to remember this Evangel secondary, I believe, is starting 3 sophomores, right? But they're athletic sophomores, and they've done an adequate job for the most part in the throwing game. Karr's throwing game, right? And then, of course, Karr's secondary is elite.
I think,
right?
look, at the end of the day, the difference in this game has been the Karr running game behind Trey Garrison, and certainly what they've been able to do field position-wise and otherwise on special teams this evening.
Right, and special teams, correct.
Houston's going to scramble here and get near the sticks. He's going to run out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. I think he's going to be a couple of yards short of the 1st down.
Because it has not been a great statistical night for John Johnson, right? As the typical John Johnson that we've seen statistically throwing and running the football, he struggled a little bit throwing the football tonight, and it's understandable. Attest some of that to that Evangel secondary. Those guys have done a nice job on those receivers, and they haven't been open as per se, and there's been a couple of drop balls, right? But you're right. Garrison is the guy that has carried the load tonight and has gone off.
So on
for
fourth
Karr.
and short, the pass by Houston is incomplete, and that should now make it academic here. What we've pretty much known since about midway through the third quarter when Karr put those back-to-back touchdowns together to answer that early Evangel score.
Also, always impressed with this Karr offensive line and what they do.
No doubt.
Not only in the running game, but in the protection, giving John Johnson a chance to throw the football. Those guys are very well coached up front. Big dudes that can move, and they're very physical. And look, from seeing them from the second week of the season to here we are in the quarterfinals, I can tell they have improved every week.
So on first down, got a helmet that came off there in the midst of blocking there, and the run that time by Zachary Gary, I believe that was 23. No, maybe 20. Yeah, it is there. Yes, he will get about 3. All in all, just an impressive performance, and the thing I think we saw as much as anything tonight is just how complete this Karr team is.
Yes.
If you could take something away from them, but you can't. I don't think you take everything away from them.
No, you can't. And if they're struggling in one area, they are going to compensate in another, and they can put points on the board, with that. So the formula to beat this team is you've got to be perfect in all three phases, right? That's hard to do. And match up with them athletically, it's so hard to do.
So after the penalty, back it up to the 33-yard line.
The question is do they have a kryptonite? Do they have an Achilles heel? And I don't see any, right? Okay. Things getting a little chippy out there. They need to, those things need to calm down.
Yeah, you don't want to have
Right,
something
yeah,
happen.
yeah, right.
That's going to be it. There is no need to run another play at this point. The Karr offense is going to get in position for what they have done every Friday night 2 years running, and that is shake hands with opponents after a victory. 25 straight wins for the Edna Karr Cougars as they wrap up a 49-20 victory over Evangel Christian. Wade, your final thoughts?
Well, look, like you said, if there's a kryptonite or an Achilles heel on these Karr Cougars, I would really like to know. It's going to be interesting to see how they stack up next week against Catholic High Baton Rouge, the only team in 2 years to really put them to a test, per se, inside the state of Louisiana, right? Yep. So what a great football team Karr Cougars have. They seem destined again to be back in the Dome. Evangel, young football team.
They're going to be back.
They will be back, no doubt about it.
Coach Duron and what
Correct.
he has done up there, running that school and now, leading this football program for the last 5 years. They are, making the climb back here, and always appreciate them. We appreciate all of you watching, and thanks for joining us wherever you may be. We will have more high school playoff football for you next week. Check your listings and visit CrescentCitySports.com and our social media channels for the latest schedules. For Wade Kaiser and our entire Crescent City Sports production team, I'm Lenny Van Gilder saying good night from Algiers. Once again, your final score, the Edna Karr Cougars, the 8th-ranked team in America, the number 1 team in Division I Select, move on to the semifinals with a 49-20 victory over Evangel Christian. Good night, everybody.